at the back and one right at the headquarters. The man who shot and killed our people today is a darling boy in the Liberian National Police.
Having some feedback. Can you work on the feedback, please? Okay, thank you. Is that coming from Junkins?
It's coming from me, but I'm here already.
Okay. Thank you. Let me. Thank you. Anthony. Dan. A wonderful good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from the closing argument today. Is our Wednesday edition going to be featuring a very permanent official of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Ibrahim Yen is going to be our special guest today. Dr. Yen is the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation, Economic Integration at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a very powerful position, a very detailed position that do a lot of representation of the country in terms of economic integration with other bilateral partners, if you will. So Dr. Yen will be our special guest tonight on the closing argument. This edition of the closing argument is being carried live on Freedom FM and Truth FM. In Monrovia, Liberia. It's also then broadcast via other satellite community radio stations across the country. So basically, it's going to be also be carried on other satellite community radio stations across the country, and it's also streamed live on the closing argument page. Where we are expected to receive most of our passionate followers that are always on this show. But tonight with me, we're going to have from Freedom FM 87.9, we're going to have our own my own global brother-in-law, Junkins Morris is rep and read from Freedom FM, and then we also have Anthony Dan is representing us from the True FM perspective, wherein he's helping to carry this wonderful edition of the closing argument tonight live. And we're going to be discussing some very major issue about the foreign ministry. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let me bring on first our guest. Okay, we're going to be before I can introduce the guest, I just want to. We're going to be discussing some, again, that is a wonderful good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having some very strategic foreign policy discussion with our guests, the Deputy Minister for International. I have to be very mindful because I'm told I have to note that the Deputy Minister only one off at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it's the Deputy Minister for, not of. I was told by other ambassador. Nomia said this, and I don't know, but I will push this to Dr. Yen to hear his side of it. It said only the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs should be off, and the rest is for, and the rest of that. So the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, who of course is the principal deputy, but this is the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation and Economic Integration. We're going to be discussing a wide range of national issues, but relative towards the statutory responsibility of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs vis-a-vis relative to the international engagements and the Home Office, the Foreign Office, and all these things. We're going to look at the performance of the current Foreign Minister. We getting some very great news coming from New York that we're going to chair the 10th non-permanent member of the Security Council. That chair process is going to start sometime this month, but the Deputy Minister is going to further elaborate on that. So without much ado, I just want to take this time to welcome my own dear brother. The last time I met him was in London. It was in 2018, and when we both met. Minister Yen, a wonderful good evening and welcome to the closing argument.
Thank you, Brother Piwe. It's been a long time. Yes, I recall our last in-person meeting was in 2019, actually, 2019 December in London.
Yes, 2019. Sorry, yeah, 2019. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Before I can bring in, so tonight we have Dr. Peabody. Other panelists going to join us soon. We have Dr. Peabody. Dr. Peabody is a permanent, very permanent, and the host of the closing argument. And we have Junkins Morris. Junkins Morris is in Monrovia from Freedom FM in our studio at the Freedom FM 87.9. We also have Anthony Dunn that is taking us also live on 2 FM. 96.1, also back home in Liberia. We're going to have other panelists, Tomanin George, Raul Gagwa, J. Victor Nambi, and the rest of the folks, Mr. Gimen, the rest of the folks going to join us subsequently in the program. But before Dr. Peabody can come in or we can get this show moving on, I just want you to briefly, maybe in 2 to 3 minutes, tell us who is Dr. Ibrahim Yen, and what's your capacity at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Thank you, Sylvester, and to all of the other co-hosts. My name is Ibrahim Nye, and I'm the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation and Economic Integration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And my responsibilities include supporting the Minister of Foreign Affairs in implementing the international cooperation elements of our responsibilities, specifically managing Liberia's relationship with multilateral organizations and Liberia's bilateral cooperation with other countries in the domain of economic affairs, cultural affairs, cooperation that do not fall within the spheres of political relationship.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yen. Yeah, we'll quickly move into some business here tonight. I mean, we've been following ever since President Bouaka took over this new dispensation of his government. He's appointed Madam Cyril Yanti Besso, who, of course, had an impeccable record from the level of the United Nations, and she assumed the responsibility as the chief diplomat of the Republic of Liberia and the dean of the cabinet of the Republic, a very profound and pivotal role in the cabinet of that country. Do you care to tell us some of the major deliverables over the almost 2 years now moving forward of our reign, and what are some of those things, if you have the time to catalog a few of them and say where are we now in terms of the Committee of Nations? We know Liberia play a massive role in the establishment of the United Nations. But we just want you to tell us where are we in terms of Madam Besso own role since she took over the hem of authority of the foreign ministry, and what are you also the office of the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation? I know that Sir office been working with the Japanese government, other major international partner for more development to come, like the Japanese freeway came from Sir office. So you care to tell us what are some things you've also been doing to further expand and advance our relationship with international partners?
Thank you, Sylvester. Well, the minister has led us into what we call an era of foreign policy transformation. And so the progress we are making is to bring back our country on the stage of international affairs as not just an observer or a passive participant, but she has challenged us that we must be active participants in international affairs. And this is in line with the mandate she received from the president, who's the chief architect of our foreign policy. He designed the policy and the minister leads the implementation. And so when she took over, in fact, when she appeared before the Senate, she proclaimed that she was going to lead on two basic principles, two basic objectives. One, to rebrand the image of Liberia. Two, to reposition Liberia in international affairs. Rebranding means, the meaning of rebranding in this case is to project a positive image of the country so that the the doomed image of war, violence, crime, scandals that Liberia was largely known for the last few years will be replaced by a glowing image of progress, a country united around shared objective, and a country on a great pedestal and leading its people into the modern era. That is the rebranding, so that the world could see Liberia as a nation that is leading its people into an era of modernity and development. And to repositioning, having acquired this rebranded image that you are now seeing in a positive light, you must be trusted and you must possess the credibility and agency to assume responsible positions in the international community. And we've managed to do both at the same time. We've been working on rebuilding our image thanks to the positive and intentional leadership role played by the president, His Excellency. He's appointed very credible people into his government, people who come with respect from their communities and their previous places of work. And one clear evidence is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who's leading this process. She comes with a significant repertoire from our international service. And her leadership at the ministry, first her personality, just because she's Cyril Beslo Nyanti, a former Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, so many people want to talk to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's number one. In addition to her representing a sovereign authority, just her personality brings enormous credibility to the ministry. Additionally, we have projected, we have articulated a policy that is clear, precise, and very deliberate, which we are implementing step by step. At the level of the international community, we seek to position Liberia, meaning to have Liberians occupy key positions in international organizations, and Liberia as a country sit on key boards of international organizations where applicable. Liberia sits on key boards in international organizations where applicable. So that is already in the work, and we are achieving that progressively. On the domestic front, we've led significant reform in the ministry, and we have reformed the passport unit, which was most of the time a very problematic bureaucracy. But at the moment, you can navigate the passport unit in 7 working days from application to delivery of your passport. That is predictable, and that is a seamless process that many Liberians go through. And then we are also reforming the foreign service. All of our foreign missions currently do have the capacity that they need to deliver on their responsibilities. They can testify that the support from the government of Liberia is on time and is quite predictable. They know when to expect their salaries. They know when to expect their operational funding. They know when to expect their rental costs. And they have policy direction from the ministry. They have up-to-date and timely responses to communications that come to the ministry from the foreign missions. And so all of these are leading actually to the outcomes that you are seeing about the glowing image that you see of Liberia's foreign relations today.
Thank you, Dr. Yan. And we know we have most of our panelists will join us while the show is ongoing, and I will sometimes ask that some people if you can take a maximum 2 minutes for each of the question to just structure it. We'll give some time to follow.
That's right.
There'll be some follow up moving on. And then, but I will allow the panelists to take most of the time to ask you, and I will come in with 1 or 2 some time. But we will take some time to focus on the Home Office and now the Foreign Service also. There's some very major concerns that are coming from some deployed and all of things. The fact that you said you guys are handling some of these things is good, but we'll take some time for us to go into it a bit. In a different sector of it. We'll start with the Home Office later on. But I will now bring on Dr. Peabody, who of course will actually discussion, and then Dr. Peabody.
Thank you. Good to see you, Minister. Thank you for joining us here today on the Closing Acumen. We are
thank you, Dr. Peabody.
We're delighted to have you and appreciate your presence. I just wanted to an observation. You know, I've been following the MSA, and one of the things, before I ask my question, one of the things you guys could really work on the information dissemination, because most of the MSAs that you go on the website, there's not much information there to really, especially the ones in foreign countries and things like that. So I mean, something that you guys could really look into. But my question here is, what is the top foreign policy priority of Liberia for the next few years? What's the top foreign priorities?
Well, I stated earlier, we've been working on cleaning the image of our country, and we've achieved that significantly. And we foreground African concerns as a major international priority. And we are seeking to position Liberia again as a respectable member of the international community. And our current priority, which is very important, is to ensure that multilateral organizations are strengthened. Because for us as a small and developing country, multilateral organizations are like insurance policies. When things go wrong, when our economy, when our security, and when our social fabrics get exposed to some degree of fragility, we turn to multilateral organizations. And so in this era of increasing isolationism, we believe that strengthening international organizations like the United Nations, ECOWAS, the Mano River Union, the AU, so that they perform their responsibilities, particularly in providing for the security, the international cooperation and trade relations among smaller countries, is very essential at this time. And so that is a key priority for us. So in all of what we do, we want to make sure we support international organizations, strengthen them, and ensure that Liberia has a very good and credible presence in these organizations, while at the same time strengthening our bilateral relationship with other countries.
Great. I've followed you guys, done a wonderful job restoring visa to Liberians for 3 years. I had the opportunity to attend the Liberia Diaspora Conference last year, where a lot of Liberians from all worlds came together and, shared different things on working. My question goes back again. You guys were recently, which is I don't believe it was true. It was wrong. But when these kind of messages get out there, it tarnishes the image of the country in regards to I'm not going to call a platform that came up and talk about diplomatic libel and having to do with drugs. I mean, which was totally why aren't you guys robust in addressing these kind of rumors of propaganda? Because we live in a very gullible culture, especially Liberian culture, and people just hear things, whether it's facts or not, they run with it. Why are you guys robust in addressing these kind of rumors?
Dr. Peabody, is really unfortunate that our country is in this kind of moment where people without sufficient information, people without the necessary training and expertise to engage the public are the one today leading public opinion spaces. And this is unfortunate for our country. But, and because of this, they spread misinformation, disinformation. And what is more appalling is the authority with which they spread this misinformation and disinformation. The government has spoken about this. The Minister of Information provided clarity. What I can tell you around this issue is that, number one, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been one of the leading ministries in supporting the various security agencies in investigating this matter, particularly in engaging with our international partners. What you saw here is not a work of local actors. It's you will see that this must be traced to an international network of cartels. Perhaps not only one cartel, but a network of several actors across multiple jurisdictions. And so in order to amass the requisite expertise to dig into this matter, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been engaged with other countries, asking them for support. This is why you have agents of the American DEA here. You have Moroccan security agencies supporting us, Serbian, the United Kingdom. Is because the minister herself has been engaging directly with their governments, asking them that this seems to be beyond the capacity of one country. This is an international crime. It's a cross-border crime. It's not something that quantity of drug wasn't produced in Liberia, and how the entire process was facilitated from one location to another and to where it was intended to go. It must involve a sophisticated network. And so the ministry has been in the lead of this. So definitely, we can be dragged along the spine. We can be dragged along the spine with those who are spreading misinformation. We have a responsibility, and we are performing that with the duty and care that this responsibility requires. That is to support the agencies. And so we can't follow the rumor mill and chasing everyone who has something to say on the social media or on some mediocre talk show. We can do that. The diplomatic powers, people need to, if those who claim or arrogate unto themselves the authority to speak to the public, also have a responsibility to gather information accurately and balance those information. When they receive rumors, they must compare that rumor with the truth. So at the end of the day, those who speak to the public must come with truth. Diplomatic power is not something that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs owns, and it's not something that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must approve. Diplomatic power is an instrument, is something that is protected by an instrument of international law under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. The only engagement the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has with diplomatic powers is to facilitate their immunities and privileges as required under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations.
Yes.
The Vienna Convention is clear. Diplomatic powers is inviolable. It means it cannot be attacked, it cannot be opened, it cannot be inspected by any other party, because this is under international relations between two countries. So if country A is sending a parcel to their embassy to Liberia, they only need to alert the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that a parcel for this country is coming on this flight or on this ship or through this means, and this parcel will be received on this date. And the diplomatic privilege that we grant them under that as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is to communicate with the Liberia Revenue Authority for custom clearance. Even the Liberia Revenue Authority doesn't have the authority and mandate to open a diplomatic pass. That is a privilege that is accorded to every country. And this privilege is accorded under an expectation of high degree of credibility that every nation exercises under their sovereignty. So the minister doesn't even interact with this process. This process is managed by the chief of protocol. If a particular embassy of a country is in Liberia and they want to send out a consignment, they communicate with the chief of protocol, requesting facilitation of the transportation of this, not necessarily for her to look at the bags or whatever parcel to take to the airport. No, that facilitation is about custom clearance. As you know, for you to export things out of the country or bring things out into the country, it must go through custom. And because this is a diplomatic parcel, you must inform the Liberia Revenue Authority. And who sits between foreign missions and other government agencies? Is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so that's the only relationship we have with it. The minister doesn't approve anything concerning diplomatic powers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in this respect, if someone tries to implicate a diplomatic power here, it means they are actually dragging a foreign government into this and accusing a foreign government. And that's completely appalling and unfortunate. And I think it comes from the position of lack of information or lack of interest in having the information and knowing the information. And also from a position of arrogance to prove to the public that someone has an information and that they are in a position to share it. But that's a disservice to the public. You have to invest in yourself by understanding how processes work before you comment on them in the public.
Thank you, Dr. Yan. And I was even on LBS this morning, and I was staying on the show this morning about some of these things. And again,
thank you. Yeah, I think
it
at
is
Monitor I
important.
followed you, Sylvester.
If folks are coming up with this kind of a clueless, when you are very clueless on issues and you want to like that, though you disseminating the information, it's quite unfortunate. But I think you sounded just and you almost played the role more like when I had the Minister of Foreign Affairs inform me. I think the ministry will have to be more proactive and with all due respect to your office in the ministry, I think the ministry will have to be proactive in disseminating some of this information to the public.
Yeah.
And I was very aggressive and more proactive in terms of the time we serve at the ministry, informing folks about these things. And it's very important that the minister.
Well, Sylvester, actually, I remember when you served at the ministry in the position
in
of
no
public
time,
affairs.
the minister personally will have to engage these things. It's not the minister; it's the office of the chief of protocol. Even at that, the chief of protocol is just doing some diplomatic communication to inform customs, inform embassies to ensure that these things are conveyed in keeping with international laws.
I have a question though, even though I'm just joining you. I have a question about that, if you let me.
Okay, Mr. Langbe.
Go ahead quickly with that question. I was just about to welcome you, but you can just go ahead. Welcome and go ahead.
Thank you. I just didn't want us to move on, but thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for coming, and thank you also for the clarification. You said the process for the diplomatic pouch is handled by the chief of protocol. Mm-hmm. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has a chief of protocol, and the executive mansion has a chief of protocol. Do you want to be a little bit more specific? Which of the protocol officers are you referencing?
So, is the chief of protocol of the Republic of Liberia. That person sits in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Yan. So, Mr. Nami, quickly, the chief of protocol of the Republic of Liberia is, in terms of the order of precedence, is the most
senior protocol officer
of the Republic. That's the chief of protocol Republic of Liberia. The chief of protocol executive mansion just to arrange the presidential activities. It's just for the president office and the president engagement. But the chief of protocol is engaged Republic. So when in terms of dealing with all of our international partners, bilateral partners, diplomatic, know this, but the chief of protocol does that, not the office of the chief of protocol executive mansion. But quickly, let me also welcome you, Ebi. Welcome to the show. But before I can come to you, Ebi, quickly, I will allow Joseph. Quickly, you have one question for the minister? Joseph, we got to go on the.
Yeah. So
quickly,
I don't know whether you hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to know, Dr. Yan, let me say welcome to the show and welcome to the closing argument. My question is more precise on Mr. Garcia's. I want to know whether whether the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will still receive Mr. Garcia from the United States of America. I want to know whether that would still be possible.
Well, first, let me say it wasn't just about Mr. Garcia. It was about a fundamental principle of Liberia playing its role under international law and as part of Liberia's historic principle as a refuge for people who are in distress or people who seek freedom and are looking for a homeland. So when we received the request to host Mr. Garcia, yes, in principle, the Liberian government agreed after thorough investigation of the circumstances surrounding Mr. Garcia. But I think the process is still a matter of domestic legal dispute in the U.S. And so if that process is finished and the U.S. government comes back to Liberia and make this request again, I believe it would be the decision of the president, and with advice of the Minister of Foreign Affairs to decide on that matter. But in principle, previously, yes, Liberia accepted, and under an agreement with the U.S., a bilateral agreement, and which is also very much supported by international law and our own laws. Yes, definitely.
Are you waiting, the ministry and the government of Liberia waiting to receive around 10, 15, 20,000?
Well, I cannot say that here, but I believe all of these situations based on the agreement that every case will be assessed individually. Okay. So that will be decided by the security agencies and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs based on the circumstances surrounding each case. So it's not about taking bulk individuals. We have to check criminal record. We have to check the amount of resources that may be needed to receive a particular person removed from the U.S. and what support they may require. We'll have to assess all of that against our national capacity. So it's case by case basis.
Again, a little bit specificity here, Mr. Minister. When you say under international law, are you implying that Liberia is compelled to accept detainees from other countries as the U.S.?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily compelled. Not necessarily.
You want to talk a little bit about the bilateral relationship?
Yeah, not necessarily compelled.
Okay, thank you. Junkins, do you have a question quickly? Junkins, are you there?
Getting me? You getting me now?
Yeah, we can get you now. Go ahead with your question quickly, please. Then from there we move to
okay. Welcome to our many listeners, and welcome to our astute panelists, and to you, our honorable minister. This is the closing argument. To our listeners, keep following. We are live on Freedom FM 87.9. Honorable minister, I got two questions. One is the fact that this drug saga is creating a dent on the image of our country and the standards and integrity of our international relations. How do you consider the call for international independent investigators to take over this particular drug investigation that is ongoing, and those heading it are being requested to recuse themselves based on allegations and accusations? And my next question is, you as a member of our foreign umbrella, what is the ministry doing in mitigating this long overdue crisis we have with the Guinean concerning the river there being mine, for which that land was occupied? What's your position on that, Honorable Minister?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morris. So let's start with the first question. First, I want to clarify that the image of this country is not dented by what is happening. In fact, we are being praised across West Africa for the arrest and for the action by the president to dismiss people and to even launch this major interagency investigation into this process. So it's actually a positive for the country. We are not dented. I understand that people are really deliberately making effort and using this as an opportune moment to promote other agendas that they may have. And they think this is now a talking point for them to actually smear this government. But the right news that is out there is that the Liberian government is making gains against drug cartels. That is the news, and that is what people are celebrating. So we are not dented. Our image is not blunt. This doesn't blunt our image, and it doesn't dent our image anyway. Your image, a government's image, is dented if the country is actually known as a country that knows about these things and is not taking any action. But within the space of 2 months or so, we seized 19 million worth of cocaine. That investigation is going on. People are being prosecuted through the criminal justice system. We seized 317 million, and an investigation has been going on. Arrests have been made, and prosecution. The prosecution is active, working on this case. So that is actually a positive image for our government. People have been dismissed by the president only because they played some role that were very dubious or spurious in the investigation process. Some police investigators were dismissed only because of the dubious and compromising role they play. That shows that we have a president who is very determined, robust, and deliberate in fighting against drug abuse. So that is a positive image. We are not dented by this, and the president is going to the bottom of this. So in order to ensure that actually this cartel is dismantled and completely eradicated, we have amassed an international network of support by bringing in people who have been trained in this area, who have the expertise to do forensic investigation and to do detailed criminal investigation. And they are working also with the Liberian National Police, which over the last 2 years has gained enormous capacity to respond to crimes like this. So this demonstrates the seriousness of this government to fight drug abuse, to fight drug trafficking. And you already know that we have strong laws now against drugs in this country. So our lawyers are working around the clock. There is no complacency in this process, and anyone who's been accused in this process is being investigated. So nothing has been compromised. This is a positive image for the country. Those who are deliberately using this as an opportunity to have political talking points, they are losing because their lies and fraudulent behaviors have been exposed. And their attempt to distract the investigators, the police, the inspector general, and key officials of this government, their attempt to distract them by insinuating that they may have been involved in this has not succeeded. That attempt has failed because the process is proceeding very robustly. Daily arrests have been made. The investigators are getting leads. And so we encourage everybody, those who are coming on the talk shows, those who are spreading information saying that they know they have evidence, we encourage them as a government, come forward with the evidence. So we have to work. This is a crime against the state. It's not a crime against Joseph Boakai or his political party. It's a crime against the state. Every patriotic Liberian must come forward with the evidence through the appropriate channel. We appreciate when you talk about it, but it doesn't stop at the talk show. Don't talk about it on the talk show. Present the evidence to the law enforcement authorities. So provide the lead. If you have the lead, report this to the police. Write to the police that you have this lead, and you can support the police in reaching the bottom of this. And if you have sufficient evidence that Mr. X or Madam Y is involved, bring the evidence. That is what we want, and that is what President Boakai is asking for. It's not about social media renting or amateur talk show renting. So this is a national effort against drug. It's not any glory for any individual or any political party. So we are calling on every Liberian, every patriot, every citizen, come around or support this initiative.
Yeah, you just continue, and then we'll go follow up. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, there was another question, right? Yeah, about Guinea.
The second question was the border situation.
Yeah, the border issue.
Yes.
So in the last ECOWAS meeting, this was discussed. When the ECOWAS State of Security in the ECOWAS region report was presented, this was discussed, and we presented at the ministerial the Mediation and Security Council meeting of ECOWAS. The Mediation and Security Council of ECOWAS comprises of the ministers of defense of ECOWAS member states and the ministers of foreign affairs. And that Mediation and Security Council only discusses peace and security matters. And it's that Mediation and Security Council that authorizes interventions by ECOWAS, whether to deploy special envoy, peacekeeping mission, or peace enforcement mission. So the Liberia-Guinea border situation was discussed at the last Mediation and Security Council meeting in July in Freetown. And Liberia presented evidence that Guinean soldiers were still on Liberian soil, and this was undermining the stability and the peace and security that the two countries have enjoyed over the last 20 years. And the Guinean delegation admitted that indeed, yes, but they are withdrawing, and they asked for time to complete their withdrawal because it's a logistical process. And at the moment, I think there are less than 15 Guinean soldiers on Liberian territories. So they are withdrawing, and they actually assured that they will complete the withdrawal in the soonest possible time.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let me take this time quickly to let me welcome Madam Sarah Dopo. Madam Dopo, welcome to the closing argument, along with Mr. Chief Tumani George. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Pee Wee. I want to say thank you to our honorable guests and all of you on the panel. I also want to say hi to our folks in the comment section. Interesting conversation. I will wait for my turn.
Thank you, Pee Wee, and welcome Minister Nye. It's a pleasure to have you on the closing argument. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George. I was concerned that you weren't here because you were the one who invited me.
Yeah, the time when I need time for the funeral. Then, okay. I'll come to you, Ture. Then I'll move to is it okay? Then I'll move to City. Is it Anthony that Joseph? You asked. Okay, then I'll come to Anthony quickly. I'll come to Anthony, but Ture, go ahead quickly. Then Mr. Nangwe. Then we come. Then go to Sarah. We have to do so. Let's keep it a caution for now, and then we'll move around. Then the minister will take at least a maximum 2 we answer them, so we can have the panelists. I will do less of the talking today, so that we can focus on the panelists to ask.
Actually, Sylvester, with your deep knowledge of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you should be speaking alongside me instead of being a panelist here. Actually,
I will.
So if that a vacancy for Sylvester,
I don't want to be seen. I don't want my uncle to say. So I don't be mindful a little bit. But anyway, I agree with you honestly. We are going to do that quickly. But go ahead,
please.
Ture, then come to Mr. Nangwe, then Anthony, then Sarah. Then we'll take some time. Then in the middle, we'll take few calls and then do a lot of things. A lot of things unfolding. The minister stated clearly that a lot of things. Normally, we know that economic diplomacy is unfolding in the country. But we are now trying to intersplice economic diplomacy versus security diplomacy, because we just been told that a lot of international partners, security partners, they are in the country to help this same drug saga, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that thing unfolding. It's a combination of the both. So we're going to go more deeper into some of these discussions tonight. But go ahead, my brother Ture.
All right, thank you, Honorable Minister. I really appreciate your presence here. I think it's a great thing to see people in my age range, a little older than me, serving our country. I think it's a very admirable thing that we all, as quote unquote, like I always jokingly say, older youth can say. I don't know how many questions I can ask you, but I have a couple of questions. But then the question Joseph asked you kind of intrigued me, developed another question. So I'll go through that, and maybe I might just go to the other question that I may have. So you discussed the Garcia thing, and you said, based on Liberia's tradition in helping in situations like this, you guys are willing, if the opportunity was to come back, to pretty much facilitate the process as you guys initially intended to. Now, if I heard you right, is when Mr. Garcia comes to Liberia, if he was to come to Liberia, or anybody like Garcia in that Garcia category, is he coming as a prisoner going to jail, or he's coming as a free man and just living in Liberia for the situation? And if he's come as a prisoner going to jail, what is the government of Liberia doing to make sure that your jail system is autopilot? That when people, now just even your regular Liberians who are in jail, what are you guys doing to make sure that that correctional facility or that prison center is at least is conducive for human living? At least that's one question in that. Another question I have here is, I wrote it down since I don't forget it. How is drugs trafficking affecting Liberia's economic growth, investors' confidence, and long-term development? That's number one. Number two, what vulnerabilities Liberia trade system or ports what vulnerabilities in Liberia's trade systems or ports make the country susceptible to drug inflows? And the last question would be,
we'll hold that for now.
Please. I may not be here for long. Please.
Let's hold it for the next.
So
please,
what we do?
We'll keep the two questions for now and hold the next one.
Let's answer two. Then we'll come back to you.
We can. Yes.
Yeah.
He will take the two.
And in fact, your other question sounds like a research question actually that requires a thorough scientific investigation guided by a real research protocol instead of a talk show. Honestly, the Mr. Garcia case. As I said previously, there is an agreement, and according to the agreement, each individual will be assessed on their own. With regard to their own specific case before a decision is made by the Liberian government. So for each person that will be removed from the United States, and for which the United States requests the government of Liberia to receive, the Liberian government will assess the individual circumstances around that person and make a decision whether they will receive the person or not. In a specific case of Mr. Garcia, if he were to come to Liberia, he wouldn't be coming as a prisoner. He would be coming as a free man and only given a home to live in Liberia. So for that specific case, That's clear. He wouldn't be coming as a president. Regarding the prison, I think you will need to find time to talk to the Ministry of Justice. They are responsible for the prisons they manage. The Assistant Minister for Correction and Rehabilitation is a very competent young lawyer, Gabriel Nupela, and I know very well that he's been fully engaged with reforming the prison system, and he has brought some really great transformation to that system. So you want to check with him for detailed discussion on the work he's been doing to improve the living conditions in the prisons of this country.
Thank you, Anthony. Quickly, Anthony, just hold on. I'll come to you. Go to Mr. Nangbe, and then I'll come to you, Anthony, then Sarah.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Again, welcome. I was in the back listening. I believe it was Dr. Peabody who asked you about Liberia's foreign policy. I believe you said, strengthening the country's position and brought other stuff, but I'd like to know, what is our foreign policy agenda? I'd like to know what agenda you are driving, what agenda Ms. Bessler is driving at the foreign ministry. Two, first of all, I'm surprised that the Solomba border crisis seems to be approaching resolution, and the government is not. I mean, it's quiet on it. I'm shocked, but I that is a relief that you say the Guineans are almost out and probably 50 of them have left. I wish the government would come out to inform its citizenry on matters such as grave as that. So I hope something like that, something will come out. Is the ministry going to pursue defamation charges against the network that, according to you, scandalized you relative to the diplomatic pouch, brouhaha?
Well, with respect to legal charges against an individual, I think that decision will be made when the extent of the damage has been assessed. But for now, we are focused on delivering on our responsibilities, and we don't want this distraction. We want to make sure that the government achieves its goal of dismantling this international drug cartel. We don't even know whether those who are scandalizing the government on the various amateur talk show are being paid to do this for this distraction. We don't know that. So we're not going to allow ourselves to be distracted. We are pursuing this to the latter. We are mobilizing all of the expertise required, and we are mobilizing all of the support from every Liberian, wherever you sit. This is a war against the country. Drug trafficking is a war against the country. So it's not against Joseph Boakai. So no one should see it as an opportunity. So we want everyone to come with your evidence through the appropriate channels, the police, the Ministry of Justice. Submit your evidence to the Ministry of Justice or the Liberian National Police or whatever lead you may have to facilitate the investigation. Regarding the foreign policy, yes, we don't have separate foreign policies in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The minister is implementing the president's foreign policy agenda. And at the moment, we are focused on strengthening multilateral systems, multilateral organizations to support international peace and security. And this means we want to make sure that the United Nations remains strong, the African Union remains strong, ECOWAS remains strong, and we are revitalizing the Mano River Union, which is the sub-regional organization for Liberia, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and Sierra Leone. One of the first major international conferences that we organized in 2024 was a conference to revitalize the MRU held in Monrovia under the leadership of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We had the Ministers of Finance, Defense, and Security of the various MRU countries and the MRU Secretariat coming to Monrovia, signed a communique of revitalizing this important sub-regional organization. You may recall that the conflict in Liberia became, at some stage, what many scholars today describe as a regional conflict system. So it was not only a conflict in Liberia, it was a conflict system linked to the 4 countries. What started in Liberia, spilled over to Sierra Leone, spilled over to Ivory Coast. These 3 countries have full-blown violent conflicts, and Guinea experienced prolonged period of political instability and intermittent dissident incursion on their territories. This was only because there was not significant security cooperation among the MRU countries. So the MRU is now revitalizing its institutions to ensure security cooperation and to make sure that defense pact between the 4 countries are enforced. so that your territory cannot be used to attack my territory, and my territory will not be used to attack another territory. And if we achieve this kind of pact, consolidate the MRU, promote inter-regional trade within the MRU, build the infrastructure. Cote d'Ivoire is now supplying electricity to Liberia and Sierra Leone. Guinea is doing the same. So we want to integrate our service delivery infrastructure, road network, energy network, and water resources, the transboundary water resources. How do we manage them together? So this is the focus currently that we are, when we talk about strengthening multilateral organizations. What we know multilateral organizations will do for smaller countries around the world, particularly global South country, is it will provide a means by which you are able to trade with countries that have the resources, and by which you are able to be assured of your security, knowing that no other country will attack you, because you have a guaranteed organization, an international organization that guaranteed your security under the framework of international law. So we have this now in ECOWAS, we are having this in the MRU. And you know what the UN did here. UNMIL came here for 15 years, from 2003 to 2018, ensuring that we have peace, maintain our peace process, and enforce the peace agreement. And so if the UN were to be breaking down or dismantled as a result of isolationist policies, we wouldn't have benefited from that kind of support that we received. So in return, we want to make sure that this organization is stronger and more forceful in implementing its mandate.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sylvester. Mr. Minister, it's an honor to have you on.
Thank you, Mr. Gagwa.
Anthony, go ahead quickly.
So thank you, Mr. Minister, and let me say welcome to the closing argument. Proud to have you here this evening on the show, but I have two major concerns that has been, wrangling in my head since I was informed about your appearance. And the very first one is Liberia sits on the UN Security Council, one of the highest decision-making bodies at the United Nations. Since the election of the country on that council, what has been the atmosphere there, when it relates to decision-making about national security issue, continental security issue, and global security issue? What has been Liberia's own, part of decision-making impression given to Liberians back home? That's one. And two, the Liberian area was being selected by the United States of America as one of the stations for visa issuance, United States visa issuance. Out of 30 countries, Liberia is one of them. What does that mean for your administration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs under the supervision of Minister Sarah Beslo-Yanti? What does that mean for you at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, selecting Liberia as one of the areas of visa issuance of the United States of America? Thank you.
So thank you. Let me start with the last question. Because of the credibility the Minister of Foreign Affairs has established and the image she has forged for this country, and the extent to which she has been able to strengthen bilateral ties between Liberia and the US so that we maximize benefits from what traditionally has been known as special relationship. The US didn't consider Liberia for closure of its consular services. So many countries were closed. Consular services in several US missions, mainly visa services, were closed down. But Liberia, the office in Liberia remains open. And not just that, but also because of this engagement, our previous visa duration, US visa duration, was extended from 1 year to 3 years. Liberians today who are successful in their visa application, visiting visa application, or what they call the tourism visa application, are no longer getting to 1 year visa. It's 3 years. And this is because of the relationship, the extent to which Madam Beslo-Yanti has been able to force this relationship and has pushed further to demand more from the US government and also to deliver more on the expectation of the president of Liberia. So what does this mean? This means that Liberia is credible that they trust the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the government of Liberia, and that Liberia has the security that is required for the U.S. consular services to continue to operate. So it's a badge of honor for your country and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So economically, what does this mean? People will be coming from other countries. Sierra Leoneans will be coming here to apply for visa, and when they come here, they will sleep in hotels. That will bring some money in the pockets of those who own hotels. They will eat in local restaurants, and they will do other economic transactions. They will see Liberian produce and purchase them on their way back. We also go to other countries to apply for visa. We do go to Ghana to apply for British visa, and we do go to Cote d'Ivoire to apply for some Schengen visa. So other countries will be coming here. So it's just a mark, a recognition of the credibility that this government has established and the extent to which we have forged our relationship with the United States. Then on the UN Security Council, we assumed our responsibility in January of this year. And what immediately happened, this entire year has been busy for international peace and security. There has been war in the Middle East, political crisis in the U.S. between U.S. and Venezuela. And so we are in the position to comment on these issues and to make proposals on how to resolve these issues and in a respectable way. So we are not a passive observer. So all of the countries that are involved in major international crises, they want to speak to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Liberia. And they want the Minister of Foreign Affairs to hear their position so that she could make a case that benefits their national interests at the UN Security Council. They also want to speak to our permanent representative at the UN. This is because we are occupying one of the most important seats in the world. It's only 15 countries on the UN Security Council. We are there for 2 years. For these 2 years, we are advancing an agenda that situates the African peace and security situation at the UN Security Council. So we operate in a cluster, the A3 cluster, the Africa tree. Currently is Liberia, DRC, and Somalia. So we coordinate the African position, all matters for international peace and security, where there is a crisis in the DRC, in Somalia, in Sudan. All of these issues are on the laps of these 3 countries, particularly Liberia now. We are the only African member of the Security Council that is not an agenda item because we don't have an active armed conflict. So we carry the credibility of the African voice to the Security Council. This is why our foreign minister is being called. I pity this woman. I feel sorry for her. She's traveling all over the place every day because she is needed at these forums. Her voice matters. She's needed at the decision-making table at the highest level of global affairs.
Thank you, Dr. Yan. One will say, Tevi, welcome to the closing argument. You came to class a little late, but welcome.
Always late. Yeah, good afternoon, good evening. Hello to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Nia. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Thank you for being here. We certainly appreciate
how you pronounce it?
Did you say Nia? Nia, I'll call it American way, Nia, yeah?
Yeah, that's the American way, but the Liberian way is
glad to have you.
Thank you, Telvi.
Thank you. So as a matter of if we have tonight Dr. Ibrahim Yen, the Deputy Minister of International Cooperation and Economic Integration at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a very profound position that engages international and bilateral partners of our country to ensure that we discuss economic integrating matters of the country and bring about more massive developmental initiative from countries like Japan, Germany, and across the world. That office gave room to a lot of development now in the country, the Japan Freeway, and a lot of other massive ongoing projects, if you will. So Dr. Yen is discussing a cross-section of international issue tonight relative to the responsibility of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And Article 57 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia gave the President the sole prerogative to channel our international foreign policy prescriptions, and his chief diplomat is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Dr. Yen, who of course happened to be the boss of Dr. Yen. Dr. Yen is here today to give a rate of issues that have been unfolding in that institution. But before I can go up to the next question, Dr. Yen, I will reserve this. I will come back. I'm going to allow the panelists to have more time to interact with you a little bit. We'll look at the time. Probably we'll about 6:30, we will go to the line and get some calls from back home. I think most of our followers been the key to participating tonight on this show. But too many, Josh. I think who came before you? Came before Robert, or Robert came before you? I want to be fair. I don't want to make the line. I think you are muted. I don't know. I just got mixed up.
Sarah came before me. Sarah.
Okay,
I think Robert was here too.
Yes, Sarah. I hope
I haven't heard Mr. Nangbe ask a question.
I don't get no
Has
problem.
Mr. Nangbe asked his question too? He was here.
Yeah, Mr. Nangbe is done. I got that. Mr. Nangbe, I don't get a problem. Oh, that's Sarah. So, Madam Dopo, you listened to the minister. I think you joined us. Sorry, I was trying to mix up. I thought you spoke already. I forgot it was just your introduction. We have the minister here, so I'll give the turn to ask either one or maximum 2 questions.
Honorable Minister, I want to say thank you again for coming on to enlighten us about some of the things that you guys are doing at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I applaud you guys for that, but I see a little bit of deceit in some of the things that you mentioned with regards to our image on the international scene with regards to this drug cartel. We heard on BBC, VOA, them referencing to West Africa as being a hub, and Liberia is part of that, of that nation, those nations that were mentioned. And also, I heard you mention about the ECOWAS being, the kind of relationship you guys build with ECOWAS. But we also saw Honorable Snow when he mentioned that the thing that happened at the border when they went to ECOWAS meeting. It took the ECOWAS guy to tell them, to remind him about the situation that is happening at the border, because they were afraid to speak because your government was going to go after them. So how do you come out here with a straight face to tell us that, our country has a good image out there when, West Africa, our country included, is being mentioned as one of the hubs for cocaine in West Africa? How do you square that out?
Yes, okay, excellent. So I will answer this one, and then I'll ask for clarity on your other question. So BBC is reporting, because the Liberian security forces were able to seize what was operating as a subterraneous drug cartel that no one was seeing. Because of the sophistication and the expertise garnered over the last few years by the security agencies, they were able to bust this drug cartel. And that is why BBC is reporting. And this investigation has shown that indeed, because West Africa is very close to South America, and because the trafficking ring, the trafficking network that previously went through the United States and through Europe has met a significant snag as a result of security institutions in those regions, they now see West Africa as a fragile region. Truth be told, indeed, West African countries do not have the sophistication, the security sophistication that Europe has and that America has. And so for them, it's an opportunity to establish hope here in West Africa. So it is left with the West African governments to tackle this issue by building their own security network and strengthening them to confront this drug cartel. So what I'm coming, no, please, just a minute. Let me just land on this. So what BBC is reporting, and the report that I read, is that indeed they are rerouting, coming now through West Africa to have access to Europe, because they don't want to fly directly from South America or from other parts of Latin America to Europe and to the United States. So they are rerouting. That is not disputable. There's significant fragility in this region. We have the Sahel region, which is in complete chaos at the moment. There's insecurity in the Sahel region of West Africa, and there's mass migration from the Sahel to southern part of West Africa, the littoral states. Now we have over 70,000 Burkinabes in the southeastern region of our country. So there's significant security vulnerabilities, which criminals want to take advantage of. We don't deny that. We don't deny the BBC report that they want to use this region as a hub. But what we can do is to strengthen our security system to go after these criminal networks. And this is why we were able to bust 317 million worth of cocaine.
Well,
and so,
With all due respect to you, Honorable, we saw that the $19.2 million of cocaine that was first busted, if platforms had not echoed that buzz, you guys were very complacent about the investigation. There was nothing done about it from the initial stage until it started gaining traction with a lot of other, platforms. That's when the government started to take action. I agree. I give you the credit though, but it was very complacent from the beginning, and then later on, before you guys started, doing something about it. So I think there was some compromise from the beginning. I mean, I can give you your chance to talk on that.
Well, if you know that somebody compromised and you have the evidence, Madam Dopo, I encourage you to just submit your evidence to the law enforcement authorities. But I don't think there was any complacency. Criminal investigation, particularly investigating an international network, is not a matter of public relations. It's a matter of expertise and forensic investigation, which take days. Identifying leads, identifying suspects, and tying knots. You have to put elements together to make sense, to establish a prosecutorial case. You don't want to run to court with conjecture or with opinion, or because this happened this way, I think. No, you want to go to court with an established evidence. And when you are investigating a 19 million worth of cocaine, it's not a taxi driver, or it's not one airport worker. You want to go to the bottom. You want to go to the source, the provenance of this particular narcotic. You want to make sure to identify where it came from, who is behind it, so that you are able to establish the evidence that you take to court. Because when you identify the individual, you are not going to execute the individual on a gallon time. You are working in a society that foregrounds the rule of law as the primary principle for criminal investigation. So if you arrest someone, you're not making a decision as the arresting authority to imprison or execute them. You have to take them to a court. And what the court requires is evidence.
Okay. So
to establish evidence, you don't establish evidence on media platform. You do investigation.
All right. So my last,
Cyril, you got buckle up your question.
Your last question, ECOWAS. What were you saying, please?
Oh, I was talking about the honorable senator had mentioned that he was kind of afraid to mention about the border because you guys were going after them. When they went to ECOWAS, it took the ECOWAS guys
going after them.
Yeah, you guys go after
going after whom?
Y'all went after Yaka Koluba for talking about the border. Then you guys, your government.
No, we don't go after people. Librarians have the free right. I think what he was talking about, he's talking about the normal rent, the battle that they go through on social media. As a responsible government, we don't go to fight people on social media.
No, I'm not talking about social media though.
Okay, no, nobody went after anyone. Nobody
went after
Yaka
Koluba.
No, I don't know what you're talking about going after Yaka Koluba. In our professional responsibilities, we don't go after someone. What we did, when the Guinean soldiers crossed into Liberian territories, we engaged through diplomatic channel to understand what was happening. We invited the ambassador of Guinea to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to inform him of the information that we have concerning I'm not going to use the word invasion, I'm sorry, concerning the intrusion of Guinean soldiers on Liberian territories. And he didn't have any information as well. He went back, consulted his capital, and they provided some information to him. And then he consulted. We dispatched a government delegation, the Minister of Internal Affairs, and now Minister of Local Government, a representative from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Guinean ambassador went into this local area to establish what was obtaining. And then they investigated. So when situation escalated, the president traveled from here, went to Guinea. The president of Sierra Leone went to Guinea. And the Ivorian president sent a delegation. Yeah. And the four leaders met and signed a communique to respect each other's borders. That happened. When we went to the ECOWAS ministerial meeting, this was just last month on July 15, the Mediation and Security Council meeting. It was myself and the Minister of Defense who reported to ECOWAS that despite the signing of the communique of March 16, 2026, between the three leaders of the Mano River Union and the Foreign Minister of Cote d'Ivoire, and in spite of all of the efforts by ECOWAS, Guinean soldiers were still on Liberian territories. And the Guinean delegation admitted that, yes, we encourage our Liberian brothers and sisters to give us some time. We want them to be patient. The logistics that is involved is what is delaying this process, but we have been withdrawing. And so they asked for time. And
is there a time frame? Is there a limit to the time requested, Mr. Minister?
I didn't get you.
How much time are they asking for? Do we know?
Well, they didn't say, but they said the logistics involved, and they admitted that at the moment, at that time, on July 15, when we had this meeting, there were only about 15 Guinean soldiers on Liberian territories. That was confirmed by the Minister of Defense after she consulted with the security forces. So these things, Madam Dopo, because of the intricacies of diplomacy and because of the professional responsibility on us, we don't run these things on social media like the names you mentioned would do. We have to go through procedures. And people expected that because Guinean soldiers were on Liberian soil, the armed forces of Liberia should go and start shooting. No, that's not what you want. You want to understand what is happening, and you want to ask the Guineans to leave through diplomatic means, and you want to define the borders. So at the moment, there's an engagement ongoing due to these efforts. The African Union is supporting the Mano River Union countries to redefine their borders in a project called the AU Border Program. So this will lead to the delimitation of all of the defined borders and the demarcation so that we re-establish what is known to be Liberian territories, Guinean territories, and on the other side, between the what we call the Yenga dispute, which is an ongoing about 20 years dispute between Guinea and Sierra Leone, that is also part of this process. So these things cannot be resolved with social media rant and banter. They are resolved through systematic processes. So we don't guess, we don't conjecture. I don't go there to say I think they should go. I go there, I say they should go because of this agreement and this protocol.
Honorable Minister, I just want to make a quick comment, and I'll be done with you so that I can give the other people chance.
Sir, we got to go, please.
Just a quick comment. I mean, he can respond on that, but I know that giving people visas for 3 years is not unique to this government alone. It has been happening in other governments, and I heard you mention that, this government is in good rapport with the United States. They have made the embassy a hub now for other people to come. That's true, but them giving our Liberian people visa for 3 years is not unique to this government alone. It has been happening to other past administrations, and I know the common people don't get visa for 3 years. Maybe it's just for the diplomats. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to clarify this for Sarah. Since the war ended, Liberians that apply for visa to the United States, visiting visa, they've only been given 1 year visa. And our government approached the United States that we wanted 5 years. And to demonstrate that we wanted 5 years, we gave them the first 5 years. And in reciprocation, they engaged us and said, look, let's do this 3 years. We want to start with 3 years. So any common Liberian who can demonstrate that they meet the requirement of the United States visa and fulfill those requirements before a U.S. consulate officer will be given 3 years. As a diplomat, I don't get 3 years visa. When I'm going for a meeting in the United States, is that if that meeting is for 5 days, they gave me around 7 days to 10 days or 3 weeks or 3 months. My last visa I received from the United States, when I went for the UN General Assembly, it was 3 months. So this is a matter of evidence. It's not what I think, Sarah. Yes, Sylvester.
I don't know of any Liberian that has 3 years.
Well, I don't think when Liberians get their visa, they make it a public service announcement. But there are so many Liberians applying.
The data should be there.
Well, the U.S. Embassy keeps that data. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs doesn't.
And we don't have it.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Mr. Minister. And I think I listened to even the border crisis you just concluded on. I think that the Liberian ambassador also, Guinea was on this show, Ambassador Fokpa Gizi. I think what he emphasized at the time was that the government of Liberia was using what he called soft power, what we call soft diplomacy, to really deeply go into this. It's good that we're getting some information coming from that angle that soft diplomacy is actually making some sense, and I think it's the way forward. Soft diplomacy is the best way to mitigate this kind of internal mechanism between our two sister countries and the rest of that. I will quickly, there's two questions that I had to ask, but I will come back to that. I will quickly go to Tumani Josh for his portion of the question, then we'll move on to Robert. Tumani, go ahead, please.
Okay, Mr. Minister, again, welcome and thank you for honoring our invitation. There have been several trips.
Tumani, before you continue, because let's keep within, please, let's keep within the 2 minutes, because we will have to go to the calls by 6:30. And so the minister will have some time to answer, then we'll go to the call. So let's keep within the 2 minutes. You can do the two questions, but within the 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Yes. There have been several trips made by the president and other the government seeking support for the country. But can you care to tell us where we are, what major investments or in agreement or partnership we are at this moment?
Thank you, St. Josh. We've been able to re-establish development cooperation or economic relationship with so many countries over the last 2 years, going to 3 years now. And most of these agreements are now being implemented by sectoral agencies. We are expecting, based on this agreement, particularly our focus is now on technical and development cooperation and economic cooperation, not aid necessarily. We appreciate aid, but our long-term development depends on technical development and economic cooperation, mainly in the area of investment. So we've been able to access major international framework that Liberia could accede to, that will promote our investment profile, and that private investors and foreign governments could look in the direction of Liberia for economic opportunities, for development cooperation and technical cooperation. So I gave you a few examples. As part of our foreign policy, this is the element I haven't spoken about and I should do now in more detail. We launched the economic diplomacy agenda of the government. This economic diplomacy agenda aims to leverage our bilateral and multilateral relationship to bring economic benefits to the country. So this means, alongside our traditional diplomacy, when we are talking peace and security, when we are talking mutual and cordial relationship between our country and other countries, we should also explore opportunities for investment from those countries and from businesses. So we seek to do this through three means. One, government to government. We engage other foreign governments to ask them to look in the direction of Liberia for their economic investment. Governments in the Middle East have a lot of investments abroad. And even their African governments now, through their sovereign wealth fund, they are doing investments abroad in other countries. Two, government to business. We are engaging businesses in other countries, asking them to come to Liberia and giving them incentives. Our investment climate already incentivizes certain investment categories. And then three is business to business. Liberian businesses to be exposed to international businesses to form partnerships. How have we done this? We are organizing economic diplomacy forums. We did earlier this year in February, we did the Liberia EU Business Forum. And this was widely publicized. Several agreements were signed at the Liberia EU Business Forum. And some of the companies, actually European companies that participated in that forum, have started to come to Liberia, specifically in agriculture. Just in July, we did a Liberia-Nigeria Trade and Investment Forum in Lagos. State-owned enterprises from Liberia, businesses from Liberia were in Nigeria, in Lagos, meeting with Liberian businesses. This was organized alongside the Lagos state government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria, which sent representatives to the forum. We've done this with Morocco. We've signed several agreements with Morocco, and now the scholarship number for Liberian students to study in Morocco has increased, particularly in the sciences. The emphasis the minister put on the Moroccan agreement was in the sciences, science and technology and medicine, and that is going quite well. We just very recently submitted a list of several high school graduates who will be going to Morocco for studies. China, we are expecting agricultural equipment that will be given to farmers. As I told you, we are not focusing on aid. We are talking about technical cooperation. So these agreements are meant to empower Liberians to own their own economy. And so because the president has a focus in driving agricultural production, particularly in ensuring more cash crop production that will increase our foreign exchange earning when we start to export, the president, in our economic partnership agreement with China, what we've asked for more in this partnership agreement is transfer of technology. This transfer of technology now involves the Chinese are sending agricultural trainers here, working with the Ministry of Agriculture. They are sending agricultural equipment worth in the millions of dollars that will be in this country given to farmers in different fields so that they are able to cultivate their fields. At the moment, the Liberia Agricultural Commodity Regulatory Authority, LACRA, has about 400,000 seedlings of coffee on nursery. And those nurseries will be given to smallholder farmers so that they increase our coffee production in the next 3 to 5 years. Currently, last year, we only exported 150 tons of coffee. That's infinitesimal when compared to the global coffee export. But coffee is a commodity that remains very valuable, an agricultural commodity. Rubber is declining. So we want to replace this with coffee and cocoa and palm product. Our cocoa production is around just a bit over 1% of the total global export. The Agriculture Ministry wants to increase this. All of you here eat chocolate every day, or maybe at least your kids eat chocolate every day, and it comes from cocoa. So we don't want to sit back and and rely only on raw materials in natural resources, iron ore, diamond, and gold. We want to make use of our agricultural resources. And the only way we've been making use of this, St. George, is to sign bilateral agreements with countries that will allow us to export our produce, our agricultural produce, and that will transfer technology. So we currently benefit from what we call the zero tariff, which the president of China announced in 2024 for all African countries. Zero tariff. If you are exporting anything from Liberia to China, you encounter no tariff. You don't have to pay taxes, but you must meet certain requirements. So the Ministry of Agriculture is working with our farmers, and the Ministry of Commerce is also working with other Liberian businesses who are in the agro-processing and other light-scale manufacturing that they could export so that they could meet all of these requirements. That includes the phytosanitary requirements of the WTO and other standards that the Chinese government set just to ensure very healthy products enter their market. So a lot is happening, but for us at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I cannot explain all of the technical details. The National Investment Commission is doing a lot of negotiations around for investment. They can come to the show and explain. What we do is to facilitate these agreements. Ministry of Agriculture, as I told you, they are doing a lot. The 400 cocoa seedlings, what is happening at the NAFA fishing production training, the European Union is supporting the NAFA to upskill the fisher folks across the country, their production, upscale their production. So things are happening. I'm not in a position, I'm not an expert in all of the areas. So unfortunately, I can only tell you how the Ministry of Foreign Affairs facilitates the access to all of the foreign markets by signing these multilateral and bilateral agreements.
Yeah, quickly, what is the status with AGUA, the American Growth and Opportunity Act?
The African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGUA, is still in force. Liberia is still a beneficiary. And actually, our export to the U.S. is increasing. And if you look at the trade data, you will see what we've been exporting. I don't have that figure handy because I haven't checked that data very lately, but I know it's still very active. And Liberians are still exporting products to the U.S. But of course, every country has standards that you must meet.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert?
Yeah, thank you. I came on to ask 2 questions, and particularly professional questions, because Dr. Yen, I've always known you. I don't think you're more professional in the diplomatic realm than a political guy, right? So I every time I engage you, I enjoy the conversation, but I was tempted a bit to ask political questions. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say though, I like your tone when you talk about the drugs and how this is more about Liberia's fight against drugs and not a concern to the president. But unfortunately, I think when you listen to the political response from opposition, I think it's important to remind you that this is the standard that Unity Party set when in opposition, right? You remember when the 100 million drug bust happened under CDC, there were massive narrative that George Weah solely brought drugs to Liberia, right? And so I say that to say, hopefully moving forward, we can discuss the politics of the day, but I think it's important for us to be balanced and unique. We have to understand when there are certain things happening in the country, do we politicize what's happening at our advantage when we are in opposition, or do we look at the actual issue? And I think when Unity Party had the opportunity, they made it a political issue rather than a national crisis that needed all Liberians hands on deck. But I want to ask you this question. I will just bundle both questions. You can respond to it. Liberia has received international support for decades. And I think you'll concur with me in that yet many citizens see little improvement in their daily lives. What needs to change to ensure international cooperation delivers visible benefits? And I think my last question also ties into that as well. If you were to point, and I think Tumalin asked similar question, but I want you to be more specific. If you were to point to one international agreement signed under your leadership, or under the leadership of this administration, what has had the greatest impact on the lives of ordinary Liberians, and which would it be, and how has it changed people's lives?
Okay, thank you. I will respond to this and then go to the other one. One, I think we have several agreements actually that are making impact. But the one I would think about immediately would be the economic partnership agreement with China, which is bringing enormous agricultural resource support to the country that will go directly to farmers. This is about providing training to farmers using modern technology, providing equipment. I spoke about this earlier. And your other question was about what needs to change for international cooperation. I don't think we should look in the direction of international cooperation as the basis for development of our country. We appreciate that, but what we want to focus on is how do we harness our national resources, the resources of this country, to advance social and economic development. And that is what President Joseph Boakai is actually doing. He's articulated a clear agenda that focuses on building more roads, and hundreds of kilometers of roads are being constructed now across the country. Roads will give access to farmers and companies to reach markets and to reach people. I mean, people, that's market. Roads will allow emergency vehicles to move across the country freely. And so he's building roads around the country. Enrollment in schools have increased. So the focus should actually be our national asset instead of international support. So I would like to turn that question around. Official development assistance to this country over the last 3 years hasn't been more than 10% of GDP. But gold export alone last year was around 25% of GDP. We also have been talking about harnessing diaspora support. Remittances that came to this country in 2025 was close to $1 billion. That's a quarter of GDP. And so if you harness all of these national capital, our natural resources, our diaspora support, and put them within a strategic framework for development, like the arrest agenda, and be deliberate about it, like President Boakai is deliberate about it, definitely we're going to remain on the right track, Mr. Gagwa. And this is the track we are on.
Yeah, but let me push back.
I appreciate the role. Yeah, go ahead. Can
I just push back a little bit, because I want you to be more specific. Do you have the data, as opposed to if you were to point to one international agreement? I think you mentioned the China agreement, but specifically, how has that impacted people's lives? I'm talking about the regular Liberian. Do you have the data? How many jobs have been created, for instance? Do you have that data to really show the impact on people's lives?
Well, honestly, I didn't expect that I would be answering questions on economic development, and so I didn't prepare myself for a question like this. Okay. To answer questions like this, I would have to go back to Ministry of Labor Statistics report, okay, to LISGIS, to the HS human. health and demographic report ListGS produces every 2 years. And these I expected to be to answer questions on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So all of the data I've given you are previous reports that I read.
Well, I
from
want
the
to ask
Central
that
Bank
question because
Economic Report.
I want to ask that question
So
because part of your international cooperation and economic, and so
yeah,
so that's part of the reason why I asked that question, and
so what we
would be in your realm of.
do is we facilitate the economic engagement.
Okay.
The implementation is done by the sectoral agencies. The ListGS, Labor Ministry, Central Bank, they write reports on these socioeconomic indicators. Unfortunately, the specific question you are asking, I don't have the figures offhand on the number of jobs that have been created as a direct result. I wouldn't say a direct result of international cooperation, but I would say if even we have the figure, is that they will correlate because of better economic and international relationship. There is a correlation with the data. So I don't have the figure offhand. I will admit to that. And it's because I didn't prepare myself for that. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Thank you. Go
ahead. Thank you. Anthony, Anthony just joined us. Oh, no, we haven't spoken. Tevi, haven't spoken yet. Sorry. Tevi, go ahead, please.
Let me mute myself. Let a lady go first.
No, but she came the lady before you, so you will not go before her. So go ahead, Tevi.
My turn, right?
Yes.
All right. So I've been patiently listening, and so I have comments and question. So the comments there first. I know we're so quick to point to the negative, but I first want to give credit where credit is due. So first, I want to appreciate the ministry. I want to specifically your minister for the hard work you guys have been doing. I see the effort. We most librarians see the effort, and we hear it, and just to appreciate her professionalism on the world stage. Even when she's provoked on social media, she doesn't go in the gutters. So for me personally, as a woman in leadership, it makes a whole lot. So I appreciate her, she and her team.
Thank you.
I also want to speak to the press release that was done today. It was timely. I understand it was timely because sometimes we need to put those things out so that because otherwise it fueled speculation. So it was timely. It hit this the negative propaganda that's out there. But what I did not see, and it was concerning to me, is that reassurance for the public. What facts, what documentation, what processes you have in place that you did to show that the ministry or related bodies were not part of this, and you've just say you have audited your process, you've done some internal or checking, whether it be it for your international powers or whatever it is, to say that we've done this and all that, or even assuring the public that we are open to investigations if needed. Our processes are open. We're compliant, and we're open to providing documentation to the requisite bodies. I didn't see that, so hopefully you guys can take that as as a process for improvement. You care to comment on that?
Thank you.
Before I move to the next thing.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was just a single press release, and I understand that you expected a lot of information in it, but I take your comments into serious consideration, but we just couldn't put everything in a single press release. But I know that we are supporting this process very professionally. We are engaging international actors who are supporting this process. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as like any public agency, is subject to the Freedom of Information Act. Any librarian interested in knowing what is happening in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the ministry, it's your right to ask for information. And we cannot deny it because we have an obligation under the Freedom of Information Act to provide information to citizens who request them. And so we are open. We are open to any kind of audit. The GSC has been auditing the ministry. In fact, the minister herself invited the GSC to audit the Security Council account for last year without the GSC making the request or even knowing that it was time to audit this. She invited the GSC that we've organized this campaign. We've won successfully. This was the amount received for the government. Kindly come and audit audit this account and provide us with report, and they did. And so there could be other procedural audit that Liberians and civil society organizations, think tanks that are interested, knowing how diplomatic powers work. You only need to come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and ask the question. There will be staff, responsible staff, who will provide the information to you. But thank you very much for your comment.
Let me get a follow-up to that. Yes, I understand there are processes in place, there were open record, but for your own internal purposes, have you conducted a review of your own records or documentations, whether it had to do with the ministry or diplomatic process? And if you did so recently, based on all the speculations, can you tell us, you let us know what you found, what was the findings? Let us help us to understand that.
To do an investigation concerning what?
Your diplomatic process around this whole diplomatic pouch or pouches or everything, just around this. I think the public needs some reassurance. And like I said, you guys repeatedly said false and baseless is good. But what did you do internally for somebody like me who's very critical and analytical? Okay, what are you giving to support that statement? That's my question, if that makes sense.
So there's a multi-agency investigation ongoing, and the relevant security agencies are investigating and following all of the leads that have been provided in this investigation. I can tell you that for sure. And as I explained previously, diplomatic pouch in this country is an invaluable asset and a diplomatic privilege and immunities for all diplomatic missions in this country. So what we call pouch is just a parcel that they are taking out of the country or importing to the country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs doesn't interfere with what they bring. What the ministry does under the Vienna Convention is to facilitate access to their immunities and privileges under international law. So in this case, if country X has a diplomatic mission here and they are sending a parcel out of the country through the diplomatic pouch, they only contact the chief of protocol of the Republic of Liberia to facilitate their diplomatic privilege of duty free, so that their material, their whatever parcel they are taking out of the country or bringing to the country, goes through custom clearance. They do not pay custom duties, and they do not go through the inspection that normal parcels go through. And so they go, in fact, they even use courier services like the DHL, the Federal Express, or the National Postal Service. The ministry doesn't even see what they are sending out. They only write a letter, a note verbal, which is a diplomatic communication, write a note verbal that we are sending this out of the country and it is going on this flight on this date, provide the details and the specification of the logistics. So then the ministry writes the LRA, informing the LRA that this particular mission is sending this thing out of the country or bringing this thing in the country. So they all have custom brokers. Their custom brokers then follow up with the LRA to ensure the seamless transportation of their pouch. That's what the ministry does. So any extra internal investigation.
You have safeguards in place.
Say that? Actually, I'm not hearing you.
She was asking if there's any safeguards in place.
Of course, there are safeguards in place. There are safeguards. We have the airport authorities. But as I told you, diplomatic pouch enjoys a special immunity and privilege under the Vienna Convention that you cannot ask a diplomat to open their box to you. That's signed under international law that every country respects.
Thank you. But before we continue quickly here, I thought
I think she have an audio issue.
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me?
We struggle.
You're in and out. Can you?
I thought you were going to the line, Sylvester, in the next show.
Yes, we're about to go hit the line on the serial. We needed to go to the line, but this time, so we'll take. There's some technical glitches from your end there. The issue about we need to send this information out basically about the diplomatic pouch situation. It's an international instrument that is protecting said issues here. There's no one. It being in from the time the Vienna Convention came into effect, right? And it's between the sending country and that of the receiving country, the agreement, right?
Yeah.
So we ought to be very clear as to how we go about this. It's not the ministry. The ministry does not audit this. The ministry is there to facilitate this process.
Can you mute, please?
Can we mute? There's some feedback coming from somewhere. Along the line. But Mr. Minister, we're going to go to the line quickly, and then when we back from the line, there's a few other questions that we tend to ask from the Foreign Service perspective as to the issue of deployment. We just wanted to know the current active mission we have, and there's this information before about a lot of Foreign Service staff that were deployed before the inauguration, and this minister recalled folks, and folks have been redeployed. So we'll be coming to get some basic information as to what is the capacity of our Foreign Service now, who all were deployed and recalled, and those number of folks that were recalled, and if they have been redeployed, and the rest of that. And there's a lot of letters that went on and all these things. And the Home Office, what are you also doing in terms of giving the capacity to most of those serving the Home Office to go for some training? And what level are we now on the Foreign Service, the Gabriel Dennis Service School? What is the level currently? And Terry was asking a question about the accountability issue also. Is the Office of the Inspector General of the Foreign Service very proactive? And we will come to you in a jiffy to discuss that, but we will now, Anthony will ask you to hold on a little bit. You came late, so we won't push to the line. Jenkins, can you just take, at least we can take 10 calls, just 10 calls, and then for the callers to interact with our deputy minister, and then we come back to the minister who has some very important question. Then we will let him go, maybe hopefully around 7:30. I know the minister will have to go, a lot of issues unfolding. We have to go to his family also. And my in-law, Jenkins Morris, are you there? Jenkins, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, can we take at least 10 calls?
Okay, and so thank you, Honorable Minister. So, and we will quickly go to the lines to take our calls here. This is Freedom FM 87.9, and we are here on the closing argument. We are also simulcast on other platforms around the country, to include Truth FM, Care Radio, and other radio stations in and around Liberia. Call us on those numbers on 0776 104 104, 0886 500 104. And our diaspora callers can call us on our WhatsApp line plus 231 886 500 104 plus 231 886 500 104. Call us and be live. Honorable Minister Ibrahim Nyan is here in studio with us. This first call, your name and where are you joining us from?
Do you think you want to hold a call so you get about at least you hear the questions if he's distracted?
You say?
I think we should write it down, but we don't have time to, because the radio will soon be going on. So I think we just write it down. Who want to ask? And then when the minister comes, we can give them.
I'm here, Sylvester.
We leave it there, and quickly go to line 2 to take this call. Hello, your name and where are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel Smith, call from Slipway. Yeah, my question to the minister would be how do he feel when he used the word on the former president today? How are they feeling when we are saying to them that President Barker and his son is bringing guns with drugs into Liberia?
Okay. The minister here, you are sure he will respond to that question. And this caller on line 3, welcome to the platform. The closing argument. Your name and where are you joining us from?
Thank you so much. My name is Matthew Ikepula, and I'm joining the conversation from the township of Oles to Congo Town. And I just want to appreciate the minister for the very excellent conversation tonight. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a ministry that we continue to follow on a daily basis. and people like Dr. Nure and the Minister of all other ministers and staff continue to inspire us to look after our country's policies and how Liberia can be projected. The ministry is doing well, and I just want to appreciate the minister and all others and encourage them to keep doing their best in rebranding Liberia and projecting us positively on the international stage, something that we know is going to help this country and we, the young people who are striving to ensure that Liberia is well represented and the dignity of this country can be regained. So it's a pleasure following the show, and I did learn a lot of things that I never knew about international policy and others, at least tonight I've learned a lot. So it's an honor, and thank you for closing the argument for the conversation.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave you there and go back. Oh, lower your monitor, then we have you. Okay, we leave that caller there and take this call. Hello, your name and where are you joining us from? The Victoria Bar. No, Victoria Bar, kindly be decorous on the platform. We have yes, listen. We have the Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation on. He's Ibrahim Nya.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you to the minister. So I want to ask the minister the diplomatic passport that they said they gave the drug cartel today. I want to ask the minister, because yesterday that we have got the diplomatic passport. They put it up today. All y'all watch the diplomatic passport. They gave the drug cartel today. They are able to draw in the country to UK today. What y'all say about it, minister?
Okay, I think the minister will respond to that, Victoria. But this all call online too. Your name and where are you joining the closing argument from? Go ahead quickly.
I want to say thanks to the minister on something that they're concerned about the border issue. The minister said that the Canadian members on so many occasions they know them that there was so many people that they gave and the minister they said the best that they gave that mistaken. They said the minister doing by telling us that the people who have spent all the months of over the year on the border, and then we also receive that they what is called busy. So after that, the border, and then it's 2 years yesterday or number 2, they said that the government does not think at this point it can follow back. And this is also the standard, of course, the visa and somebody has paid or any other thing should be leaving the office almost about 3 or 4 months and nobody that's all. And then it should be that he's telling all he just packing his government for his salary. Thank you.
We leave it there and go back to line 1. Hello, what is your name and where are you joining the closing argument from? The General, welcome to the platform. The Deputy Minister from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is on.
Okay, the people in the diaspora there, the platform for the people asking. The only ask the minister, welcome to the platform. So I want to ask the minister a question. Yes, since you go to power, that the brother travel more than 55 times. What he has brought to this country to make us smart in this country, because he's going from it, that is what we hear. Can you tell me all the labor we do with them? When you tell me all those members,
thank you. We'll leave you there, Mark City, and take this other call. Your name and where are you joining us from? Okay, that caller is sleeping also. We quickly go to line 5. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, we're telling Dollar I'm from Grand Bassa Country, to be precise tonight.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I listened to the Deputy Minister, understood everything he said on those partnerships being secured by the government. But actually, I cannot see the reality on the ground, only from the sovereign citizens of the Liberian people. The local agriculture, activities. It's very poor in nature. And the only thing, again, I want to say thanks to them, is the foreign policy they create in bringing cocaine to this country and hampering our international relationship. Is creating fear for other travelers to any other European or Asian countries like China. So I just do not understand how can they invite cocaine into this country and wanting China to respect our international policy. I want you to speak to that issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there and go to this caller on line 1. Hello, your name and where are you joining the closing argument from?
Yeah, John Kimori.
Yeah, 1 million. We are sharing. Go ahead. No time.
Yeah, this is running cat. 1 million. We are just follower of the brand, but we are. Yeah, I want to ask the minister in studio. The minister, I want to ask him how he see when they brought propaganda to the leadership, to the Liberian people, and said that President William brought push, and today we see millions of jobs in under their watchful eyes. How he really see, and secondly, to the borrow issue, the people have spent money almost 5 months to that place. What the government is doing about it, today the people are paying all our sweat. The government of Guinea, they will give that place back to the Liberian people or that place for the Guinea people. We want to know. Thank you.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there and take this call. Your name and where are you joining us from?
Thank you for having me. My name is Victor P. Chabo, Commander New of Sergeant Plea. I will join you for Battery 5 to be precise. That we do. Mr. Minister, thank you for coming in studio, but I have a question for you, sir. Sir, I want to know why this is that the internal security that you have at the ministry, all of the countries that you have the ambassador, they are not there working the role with them, and you have maybe some family member working and the internal security get posted at the ministry. Sir, can you please give me clarity? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I didn't get the last. I didn't get the last question. Could someone just summarize the main point? The recent one.
Yeah. We are live. Yeah, go ahead.
This is no speaking from the community. I want to ask a question, minister question. My first question is how the minister feel when they were in opposition and they were seriously protesting, ready for the march in Kerukopa. And today, so much of a protest, and they are bringing Kerukopa on people. That's the democracy is number one. My second question is their propaganda were coming that Jowiya was running private jet all around. Baga was saying that you were going to grab wheelbarrow to go to the mansion. Today, when Baga came to power, Baga bought millions of dollars cars that Jowiya was not riding. Today, Baga ran private jet. I do the minister of things today.
Thank you. How is the minister feeling about that question you are asking? This other call, your name and where are you joining us from? Quickly, you got 15 seconds. No time.
You said the government sent money to the board, the power, not to the Sunday, let's say, a 100 kilometer room. Where in the Royal 7 or Pluto or where on the planet? I want you to answer that question because we are not seeing nothing. What is just being?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The minister will respond to that.
I didn't
this
get
third to the last one.
I didn't get this question.
Yeah, some of it will be some of it will be interpreted for you.
I want to tell people to the diaspora after the minister left, they will call the information minister to carry studio. I want to ask him. Yes? I want to deal with him. Please.
Okay. So, yeah, she's our third to the last caller on the program tonight. Calls this other call, that diaspora caller slip the line. So we'll go back to line 1 to take this call. Go ahead.
I want to ask the minister.
Yes, but honestly, you will hear everything you are saying. Everything we will respond to via the phone. So you need to lower your monitor.
Okay. He said, Liberia and China came to one agreement for transportation, but it will be acceptable Liberia agree with such things before we go on. So what is that?
Rise the LRA.
What is that? Even though yes.
Let her restate the question, please. I'm actually struggling getting most of the questions.
No, she went off. She went off. So we'll take our last call from the diaspora. Then we'll get to you to make sure we do interpretation of what.
Yes, Jingis, no time. So I'll take the last call so we can.
Yeah, sure. The last call. Your name and where are you joining us from? Yeah, but you got sound playing behind you.
Is there any feedback on behind me?
Just go ahead quickly.
Can everybody mute, please?
Thanks to the Honorable Minister for clearly articulating the government position on so many different issues. Sincerely thank the President, Joseph Newman Boakai, for being an astute leader. But something said by the minister regarding the border that I want some more clarity on, especially when it comes to timeline. The Guineans are going to move away from our territory because clearly the Guineans are violating the Geneva Convention, right? Crossing over to another person's territory is clearly a violation. So they have to be very intentional about this. That the Guineans are in clear violation and they are not supposed to be where they are in the first place. So we need more clarity. I think the Minister of Defense and all other partners involved in that investigation have to come up to the public and be intentional and be clear, because I'm a strong supporter of this administration. But when it comes to the issue of the border, and for me having a military background, it hurts me to see my country being disrespected in the manner of form in which the Guinean government is proceeding. And lastly, to close my comment, Mr. Minister, this is a question to you. How is it possible that you guys can leverage the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to engage with government with the United States, especially when it comes to the issue of drug training, or how to get a batch of our drug enforcement agents of the drug enforcement agency to come to the U.S. Whether we can do it at the country, we can do it at the state level or federal level. Is there any way that you guys can leverage the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to engage with the United States so that we can have our guys trained here, where we can, they can go back home, we can have some K9 units trained here, where we can get some military drones to be able to fly over our porous borders. We don't have enough men to man those borders, so we need technology to be deployed. We have to be intentional with the war on drugs, because these guys are way ahead of us. Okay. So you think that, so I'm asking you, how is it that your office can be leveraged to get some serious connection to the United States to help train our men and give us better equipment in the fight against these menace in our society? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll leave the course there and go back to Sylvester Pee-wee for controls.
Thank you, Jenkins. Mr. Minister, you listened to the callers. I think where you will have some issues. Johnson can relay that, but I thought most of the callers, you listened to them. So we'll give you the next probably 4 to 5 minutes to collectively just condense everything and respond to them. And then after
Thank you.
that, then we can move on to the last phase of the discussion and let you go.
Thank you, Mr. Peewee. Yes, I did struggle to actually get some of the questions, particularly the ones that had a bad echo in the background with the phone call. Yes, I struggled to get what they were saying. But there were questions around diplomatic passport. We don't have any individual carrying our diplomatic passport that is a subject of any criminal investigation. And if anyone knows of anyone who is a criminal and carrying the Liberian diplomatic passport, please report that to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Because the issuance of diplomatic passport is regulated by law, and it goes through security checks. Individuals that hold Liberian diplomatic passports are Liberian government officials, Liberian diplomats, and individuals who are performing services for the Liberian government abroad. So even second or third country citizens that are performing services for the Liberian government abroad.
Are those called honorary consul?
Honorary consul, special trade representative to some regions.
Okay.
And these people go through security background check.
Okay.
And if anyone has any information that somebody who has a criminal connection or a criminal history is carrying a Liberian diplomatic passport, kindly report that to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or to any of the security agencies. So at the moment, we don't have any incident like that. We haven't received any report of anyone being involved in drug crime carrying Liberian diplomatic passport. All of those arrested, their passport details are with the Liberian National Police. Their nationalities are clearly identified. And some of the countries they come from have been contacted actually to support this drug investigation. The Guinean border situation, as I said previously, that the president's approach to this is soft power and diplomatic engagement, and that has worked. So the next phase is the delimitation and demarcation of the land and maritime borders. And as I speak to you, technical committee from the Liberian Border Task Force is currently in Cote d'Ivoire. They are engaging the Ivorian Border Commission on the Liberian Ivory Coast border under a bilateral agreement that we signed last year with Cote d'Ivoire for the delimitation of our land and maritime border. The same will soon be happening with Guinea and Sierra Leone. And the one with Guinea and Sierra Leone, including the one ongoing now in Cote d'Ivoire, is supported by the African Union. Yes, indeed, the Guinean soldiers admitted in the last ECOWAS meeting when we reported to the ECOWAS Ministerial Council on Mediation and Security that Guinean soldiers were still on Liberian territories, and that was undermining the peace and security and stability of the sub-region. The Guineans admitted yes, but we are withdrawing. They said yes, but we are withdrawing. And we very soon, they said, when we asked them for a timeline, they couldn't provide a timeline, but they said they are withdrawing. And it's a logistical process. And so we expect that this process should be completed soon. We will again check with the security forces for the state of affairs in that area, in the Solomba border area. But they actually admitted to ECOWAS that, yes, we agree to this, and we want to assure our Liberian counterparts that we are withdrawing. President's travel, somebody talk about the president traveling and what he's bringing to the country. Presidents make several travels, different categories. One, there are statutory meetings that presidents attend abroad. Meetings of the United Nations, particularly. Meetings of international organizations that Liberia is a party to. We are a member of ECOWAS. So at every ECOWAS summit, the president of Liberia and other presidents of ECOWAS member states must be there. The president may choose to designate a government official to represent him. It could be the vice president, the minister of foreign affairs, or a senior official of his choosing. Then there is the African Union Summit. The president must attend the Assembly of Heads of State and Government. So these are statutory meetings that presidents attend. And then there are bilateral visits, state visits. Other countries, based on a bilateral relationship, do extend invitation to the president that I want you to visit my country. So the president, just this year, not too long ago, we were in Ethiopia at the invitation of the president of Ethiopia. President Boakai went there, where the Ethiopian president showed him what he's doing in infrastructure development, in agriculture, and in AI, science and technology. And it was a visit to strengthen ties between the two countries. What we got out of that was to sign an agreement on science and in education, science and technology, and specifically artificial intelligence. Ethiopia has an AI university, a university on artificial intelligence. So we signed a specific agreement which will benefit Liberians who are interested in artificial intelligence. So the relevant Ministry of Education is already seized of this matter. The Office of Technology, recently established in the Office of the President, is meant to facilitate e-governance. That office is seized of this MOU, which they will carry forward. So the President of China also, we are looking forward to a bilateral visit in China, where the President of Liberia will meet China one-on-one. So in addition to the statutory visits, there are other multilateral engagements where presidents do attend. For instance, the Forum on China-Africa Relations, China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC. African presidents and the Chinese governments do meet to articulate the agenda for the relationship between African countries and China, where on the sidelines, bilateral meetings are held. TICAD, the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. So the president doesn't just wake up and say, I want to visit this country. No, there are statutory meetings that he attends, and he attends to invitation extended to him by other friendly governments. Similarly, we do invite other countries here. And if we are hosting any of the multilateral meetings, we will expect other country governments to attend here. These visits are intended normally to strengthen relationship between your country and other country, and also to ensure that your country plays its role in international organization. When you reap benefits from these visits is when you reap benefits is when you sign agreements that you bring back and your country implement. And no country interacts with you without an agreement. For any country to say, I'm sending equipment to Liberia, or I'm sending a company to Liberia, it must be within the framework of an agreement. So these MOUs are signed in order to facilitate interactions and specific action, whether in the economic sphere, security cooperation, or in political consultation. Somebody talked about the U.S. government and technical support to drug enforcement and training. Yes, within our bilateral relationship with the U.S., our security agencies do benefit from specialized technical support from U.S. security agencies, including the Office of International Narcotics, which is a part of the State Department. They support the DEA. They provide various forms of training for them. The Drug Enforcement Agency of Liberia. There's a specific office in the State Department on narcotic control, and even the U.S. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency works along the Liberian National Police and the Drug Enforcement Agency, and currently they are all participating in this multi-agency investigation of the drug cartel that was trying to use Liberia as a safe haven to transport their drug. So all of these things, they happen within the framework of bilateral agreements. So many officers of the Liberian National Police, the Immigration, the Drug Enforcement Agency, they do go routinely. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs processes their travel to so many countries for specific training. Egypt, Morocco. Just 2 months ago, the Liberian National Police Inspector General was in Morocco signing a partnership agreement with the Moroccan police. This is actually why Morocco is part of this process, supporting this process. It wouldn't have happened without an agreement. No country does anything in another country without an agreement. There must be a framework that guide the engagement. So I don't know if I left any other thing out. Mr. Piwe, you could just restate the questions that perhaps I haven't spoken about.
I didn't get most of those of from the echo. I didn't get that. But Mr. Nambe, you try to make a follow-up quickly.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Thank you. I know you're getting ready to leave, and so I just want you to clean up. I'm getting a lot of messages. One, I understand the Minister of Foreign Affairs is directly responsible for processing the diplomatic pouch. So this is the text I got, and this person works for the ministry. I didn't even know there are also local and international pouches. I know you do. Two, my friend Cyril Dopo talked about the drug problem here. You seem to suggest that this is a logistical problem. You suggest
drug problem? Which drug problem?
The infiltration of the drug, the current drug situation we're discussing now. Your answer was apparently this is a lack of logistics. But the reporting we are getting here, this is a human problem. The characters in the government have been implicated. Some of these people are still walking around. They haven't been arrested. What's his name? Morris, the guy who runs the bar at the Painesville Red Light. None of these people have been arrested. So I think you're making an excuse which really doesn't exist. But let me give you the other one. I'd like you to speak a little bit about the announcement by the U.S. government on May 15 that Liberia is being designated as one of the 20 countries to process visas in Africa. And thank you again for coming. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. I don't recall talking about drug problem being a logistical problem.
Well, you said there are limitations for countries like Liberia in West Africa, which to me implies that you don't have the logistics.
Well, obviously, I will admit that our...
So then we're saying the same thing, correct?
Yeah, due to limited budgetary resources, our security agencies actually work under strenuous conditions. Sometimes they are challenged, even mobile patrol vehicles in the rural areas. Somebody was mentioning our porous borders. The latest information I got in my previous capacity was that we have about 135 crossing points between Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. And we have stationary deployment at these crossing points at just around less than 10% of these crossing points. And those are the official borders. So people use canoe at various crossing points. There are forest land borders. People enter the country. So obviously the security forces, like let's look at the U.S.-Mexico border. It's a long stretch of border that they don't have deployment at most of the areas. And so people enter the U.S. through Mexico. But it's not a comparison. I'm not trying to compare the situation. I'm just saying what obtains when there is not sufficient capacity to man or have stationary deployment in all of these border points.
Thank you very much.
Let me explain the diplomatic pouch again.
Chief Tomalin?
Just a minute, Mr.
Let me explain the diplomatic pouch again.
Okay.
Yeah, before you continue.
I want to keep it one. If you remember that,
Junkies, I know you need to go, right? So because we don't want to.
Sure. Because we've already entered the next continuity announcers time.
Okay, thank you.
So the diplomatic pouch.
I want to say good night to every one of you and thanks to the minister for coming. This is Freedom FM and we are always here.
So the show ends right here?
No.
I'm going from my end, from Freedom FM 87.9. So the closing argument continues on Truth FM. And good night. We'll be here tomorrow.
Thank you, Junkies. Go ahead, Mr. Misa. Sorry for that interruption. Sorry.
Diplomatic pouch. The minister is the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that makes her the accounting officer.
Right.
But their responsibilities delegated to various
departments. But you were suggesting that this is not her responsibility. That was your
No, it's the chief of protocol. It's the responsibility of the chief of protocol.
I'm saying now the reporting is that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does that. And I'm asking you, if you guys believe you're being falsely accused, why don't you go to court?
Well, as a government, the government has a decision. I mean, I don't think within a space that a government operates, you want to go to court on every matter. But individuals of the government who feel maligned, they definitely, when they feel that there are libelous allegations against them, they could decide to go to court individually. But I don't think the government of Liberia, within the context of the politics that occur on a daily basis, will want to go to court on every case. So what the government does is when individuals are suspected of committing crime against the state, the government amasses evidence, collects evidence, and use the evidence to go to court. I want to come back to the diplomatic pouch. The chief of protocol of the Republic of Liberia is responsible to facilitating the privileges and immunities of diplomatic missions in the country.
Okay.
When they come to the country, one of the privileges they have, they must have a diplomatic ID card. which they carry around to indicate that they are a diplomat and they operate here under the Vienna Convention. 2, their vehicles also carry a special license plate. They don't go to the Ministry of Transport for that. They come to the office of the Chief of Protocol and apply for that. The Chief of Protocol goes to the Ministry of Transport and collects their license plate and gives to them. And that vehicle operates here under international law. That vehicle cannot be searched like the diplomatic pouch. When they are transporting their effects, communication, or whatever parcels, they write to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to inform that this particular parcel, which is called the diplomatic pouch, is leaving the country, and the requirement is under the Vienna Convention, it must be visibly labeled as a diplomatic possession. And so what the ministry does, the Chief of Protocol will write the LRA for custom purposes that, yes, this possession is owned by this foreign mission, and it benefits, it enjoys this privilege of custom duty, and asking the LRA to facilitate it so it doesn't go through what every other ordinary citizen will go through. That's what we do at the ministry. And we don't even see what they are sending out. And we do send things out. There are librarians abroad who apply for passports here. We print their passports. They also go through the same diplomatic pouch. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. And I really do appreciate it. But the specific allegation is that your minister, and my best friend Sarah, I know Sarah very well. The allegation is that she signed on one of these packages that is a part of this particular investigation.
No.
That's what I was asking you.
No, there's no evidence, to that.
Thank you very much.
She doesn't even interact with that process.
Thank you.
Yeah. No evidence.
Thank you.
She has never signed on any. She doesn't. She doesn't see package. We only receive letter to inform us that a package is going out, and then we inform the LRA. So we don't see package. How will she sign on the package?
Thank you.
I know that for a fact that the office of the minister doesn't see the package, doesn't hold the package. It's done via the office of the Chief of Protocol, informing LRA for custom issues and the rest of that. But again, you yet to provide the necessary clarification. I'm not the spokesperson of the ministry today. You
have deep knowledge of the processes.
Yeah, and that's
I
right.
appreciate your contribution.
From that perspective, I will come up clearly and say,
please, thank you.
Mr. Nangwe getting the facts mixed up and on
thank you.
Yeah, it's not actually. It's the minister does not personally do. But Ms. quickly before I can move up to Peabody and too many here, but I just want
that spoke a bit of
okay, then I'll come to you quickly.
And I have one question. I want to ask one question. You said we're allowed two. I asked one.
Yeah, we are coming back.
What's your question, Telvi?
Of course, thank you. So you talk about the border, and the Guineans have, they agreed to withdraw, but my concern there, it seems like it's open-ended. So what, has the ministry established any follow-up schedule or target dates to ensure that this commitment is adhered to?
Oh, yes. The Armed Forces of Liberia and the Immigration are doing that. They are doing the follow-up since we left the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council meeting, which was attended by the Minister of Defense and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Minister of Defense actually committed to the follow-up process, which will be done through the AFL and the immigration.
So how often? The schedule, ask about the schedule.
Well, I'm not familiar with the details of that. That's an operational detail of the security agencies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony, go ahead quick.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Thanks for coming, and we wish to see government official
because of time
constraint,
Anthony.
I'll be quick.
Yeah, one question. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, now one question, get baby. At the end of my conversation, I just want my certificate from the foreign ministry. At least I have foreign mission, to tour today. Hey, but here's my question to you. On August, in the month of August 2024. So you spoke of economic diplomacy, so I'm bringing economic question and agricultural question. August 2024, at the ministerial complex, precisely, this administration launched an agricultural initiative that's supposed to reduce rice input by 70% in 2024. Where are we on that project? You talk about the Guinea also said that they are going to withdraw, but because of logistical issue, That's the reason why. What kind of logistics are we talking about? And when are they going to leave? Because the land cannot get rotten. So we don't need them to be in Liberia with our weapons, intimidating locals, in order for them to negotiate or put in diplomatic, negotiation, whatnot. That land can get rotten. So they don't need to be there physically. They need to go back, and we can, use the backdoor diplomatic channel, all those different things. So help us understand, why are they still in Liberia intimidating our people, and why are we on that agricultural project?
So, Anthony, I will respond to the one that I'm familiar with, that I've been working on, and that's the Guinean border situation. The situation has since de-escalated, since the diplomatic initiatives were launched, and the various heads of state met, signed a tripartite agreement to de-escalate tensions along the border and to withdraw. Again, the Guineans admitted that they have commenced withdrawal, and they have just around 15 soldiers, and they were gradually withdrawing them. This was almost 2 weeks. I mean, since the 15th of July, the ECOWAS meeting, when they admitted and they asked that they just needed time to finalize their withdrawal. So they were now withdrawing the same way they came. They came, it was a mass deployment, but the withdrawal has been gradual. And yes, obviously, they didn't give us a timeline, but we are assured, and they even assured the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council that they are finalizing this in the soonest possible time. The operational details of this is with the Ministry of Defense and the immigration, honestly. But what I can tell you is that our diplomacy succeeded in de-escalating tension, in avoiding violent conflict, and in avoiding a situation of loss of life between the two countries. And I think that's a remarkable diplomatic achievement. So they're going to leave. And we just need to check the status of the withdrawal of the remaining around 15 or so soldiers. Regarding agriculture, there are data on the import of rice and local production. I'm sorry, this is not a data that I have. I think we need to engage the Ministry of Agriculture to ask about this. This is a specific technical detail on. They were talking about reducing the import of rice. So this is something that those who have been working with this, who have perhaps done some evaluative research around what they've been doing, they will have access to the real figures that you need. And I'm not in a position to give figures that I don't know, honestly.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Quickly, before Peabody will come in here, do you care, before Madam Mr. President could take over as the President of the Republic, there was this information about the former foreign minister deployed a lot of folks in the foreign service. And when you came in immediately and you recall most of those that were deployed, I just want to get a sense of where are we now on this? Because there was a lot of disillusionment in the court of most of those that were deployed, and people said your administration, with the Minister of Administration, recalled people. How far are we now on the deployment of most of those that were recalled? Did you redeploy some of them, or you went about a new batch of deployment?
Yes, so I can speak to that. At the end of 2023, there was mass deployment that didn't follow the established
And that mass
procedure.
deployment, do you care to, is there a number around it?
I think there were around 69 persons that left the country at the same time, around just in the space of in 2 to 3 weeks time. All of them left around the same time. So many things happened in between that made it difficult for them to function as diplomatic officials in those countries. Number one, a good number of them left the country without being processed through the ministry's channel. Some of them bought their own plane ticket, left the country. Some of them left without moving costs. And for you to be placed on the payroll of the government as a foreign service staff, the auditors need evidence that it was the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that purchased your ticket, and that the ministry gave you a moving cost. Moving cost is the amount you need for resettlement when you relocate to a new country, while you are waiting for your first salary, your rent, and so forth. So you needed to, the auditors needed to establish that your plane ticket was purchased by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The auditors needed to establish that you received a moving cost, and your name needed to be placed on the government payroll. So what happened? some of them only received letter of appointment and certificate. And around the time of the inauguration, purchased their own plane tickets and left the country.
Okay.
So there was no record of the ministry on some of them. But then they started calling back, oh, I'm deployed to this country. And now, in fact, our ambassadors were the one calling. I received this person today. I saw a letter that they are appointed as a consular officer here, a first secretary here. But the ministry didn't have record on them, particularly in the finance and human resource office.
Okay.
So this was a crisis.
So there was no intent to, it was not politically motivated.
No, this was a crisis on our hand.
Okay.
Some of them started, some of them were falling in health problems, going to hospitals without insurance and without their diplomatic ID card because they couldn't be processed. So in the wisdom of the minister, they all came back. They were facilitated to come back. In fact, some of those who purchased their own plane ticket to go were refunded. They came back and they were processed through the system. Their names placed on the payroll, some went through the requisite training. Some actually did training before. Some did not. Those who did not do training went through the requisite training and were redeployed.
Okay.
A good number of them were redeployed. They are across the foreign service. A good number of them. So there was nothing about this like you are from this party or that party. It was just about ensuring that they receive their just benefit and that they get the necessary employment security. Yes, of course, there were situations that we could not take to the end. Some of them did not go back, but a good number of them went back. Okay. After a personnel audit, the CSA and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Internal Audit Agency recommended some to not be redeployed. So this was not a process done squarely by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay, good. That the Peabody will come in here, but please, if you add this so that the Peabody question and answer this, it's important. I don't want to slip up. There's this news, we've been receiving some information here that what is the state of our diplomatic passport? I don't want to say because I'm getting this report that normally when I serve at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all of the diplomatic passport I got, the duration was for 2 years. Is it true that there are certain diplomatic passport issued for a period of 6 years? And if yes, do we still have those passports in circulation?
That was actually one of the first actions that Minister Beslo Nyanti took in April of 2024. There was a passport regulation that was drafted around July, August 2023, but was never adopted fully. And that regulation extended the duration of diplomatic service and official passports to 6 years. And several individuals received that passport up to January 22nd. And in the first few weeks when we took over, even few officials of the ministry got that passport. But then again, we operate in an international community, and there are a lot of security concerns with diplomatic passport being for that duration in the hands of people who may not be associated with the government for that long. So it was the wisdom of the cabinet that we revert to the original passport regulation, and the passport regulation that post-diplomatic passport are 2 years. So in April of 2024, an announcement was made at the Ministry of Information that all officials of government that were carrying diplomatic passport or any Liberian or foreign individual holding a Liberian diplomatic, official and service passport of 6 years, please return them to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And if you were still entitled to diplomatic passport, you will be given a diplomatic passport for 2 years. And that process went on. I remember I was in charge of that process from the beginning. There was 88% recovery of the passports that were issued. It will interest you to know that passports were even printed on the eve of inauguration. And passports were also printed. Again, the same passports were printed for officials that initially were appointed by President Boakai. Some of them that needed to travel in January, February, and March. They all got that passport and they all returned them. We recover at that stage, we recover around 88% of all of those passports. Those who were entitled, former lawmakers, the king, what they were entitled to if they were no longer in the House of Representatives, They got the due passport they were entitled to according to law. Former Minister of Foreign Affairs, officials of foreign affairs, former officials of government. Some of them actually complied with the process. The king submitted to the process and applied for the passports they were entitled to. At the moment, since April 2024, we do not print any diplomatic service and official passport for any period beyond 2 years. All passports, privileged passports, are for 2 years. The ordinary Liberian passport, which every Liberian is entitled to, is for 5 years.
Dr. Peabody?
Yeah, Minister, thank you so much for your deliberation here tonight. It's been amazing. I'm glad that you brought us some information because we're unaware that the USDA was even assisting with investigation and everything that was going on. I think you guys need to be a little robust in terms of getting this information out so that the public will be aware that you guys making effort rather than people claiming, oh, they're doing nothing and stuff like that. You know, one thing you say here tonight, which it's true that the Liberian traveling to the U.S. visa was only given for 1 year. When I came to the United States on the student visa, I was only given 1 year visa, and every time I went home, they would renew it and give me another year visa up to that time. But my final question here to you, thank you for staying this long. My final question here to you is, how will you respond to critics who have said that you guys made the EU representative to Liberia to leave because she asked a question regarding the vice president of Liberia of his involvement into the bee mounting and how he had a hold on the bee mounting deal? How will you respond to your critics that have said that?
We have a very good diplomatic relationship with the European Union, and as a sovereign state, we retain the right to not explain under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. A receiving state can ask any diplomat of the sending state to leave without explanation. The Vienna Convention is clear that you are not obliged to provide an information. You can also refuse to receive a diplomat, and you are not obliged to provide reason. That is explicitly stated in the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Regarding the EU ambassador, I know an information came out and it was widely discussed a few months back. There were some controversies around her role in the country, and Liberia respectfully communicated with the European Union that this ambassador, instead, because of the relationship, the Liberian government was not declaring her persona non grata, which is like you are expelling the person. But we're respectfully asking the EU to recall this ambassador and send another ambassador. And that was it. That is the sovereign right of Liberia, and every country does that. We've had situations where we've received letters to recall some of our diplomat or diplomatic staff, and we've done that quietly. And it didn't create any uproar. It didn't create any brouhaha around this. These are normal diplomatic practices.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Georgie?
Yeah, thank you again, Minister Nye, for accepting our invitation. Like Peabody said, I think you have one of the main issues that I'm getting text on was this issue about diplomatic power. I think you really addressed it well because people have taken it differently, and I'm glad you were able to explain now that, because initially people thought it was the Minister of Foreign Affairs that was doing all these things, but now myself, I never knew. Got to learn tonight that it's the Chief of Protocol of Liberia, which is very, like other guys have said, these information should be out most of the time.
But the clarity that is important here, Mr. Josh, is that the Chief of Protocol only facilitates diplomatic privileges in Liberia. Okay. And one of the privileges associated with POUCH is custom clearance.
Yes.
So they do not pay custom duties. So it's custom clearance just to allow the LRA to process this. The Chief of Protocol doesn't see POUCH, a diplomatic POUCH or parcels. She doesn't sign them. She doesn't inspect them. She only receives communication that country X or mission X, international organization or a foreign embassy is sending a parcel out of the country or receiving parcel and want the LRA to grant custom duty-free privileges. That's what the Chief of Protocol does.
Yeah. And those same privileges also are accorded to Liberia too, right?
Yeah,
everywhere,
it's
everywhere.
reciprocity, right? You do me, I do you.
All right. So
So
it
yeah,
operates. Everything operates under framework, international agreements.
yes.
And for diplomatic pouch, specifically Article 26 of the Vienna Convention. And it clearly states that any diplomatic parcel must be labeled and it's inviolable. It cannot be inspected by anybody.
Thank you so much. And let's
No, Dr. I have a question on that. It has to do with rest, though.
Yeah, Kevin. Can you
on that pouch? No, please. Can you help me? 30 seconds. Let me be the Robert today. 30 seconds, please.
Okay, go ahead with the 30 seconds.
Please,
let's stick to the 30 seconds.
I beg. 30 seconds.
I will bring Siddiqui here. Go ahead quickly.
I beg. So if I had to put on my risk management hat here. So if you're not physically inspecting the content, you're not verifying it, then who assumed the risk? Is it a shared responsibility, or do you have some documentation that before you sign to say, oh, that sending mission is responsible, or both of you are responsible?
Well, as I said, it's an international agreement because countries have to send communications to missions have to send communications to their countries. Some of these are intelligence information. Some of these are very confidential materials. So I'm not allowed to see what other government is sending, other diplomatic mission is sending to their government. And they also have personal effects that are accorded diplomatic privileges. So it's not allowed under international law. And this is done, this is under the principle that sovereign states are credible entities.
So who assumes the risk?
No, so quickly, there's no risk.
That's what I'm saying. There is risk.
There's a lot of risk.
The risk is on the government. The risk is on those who are receiving.
Yeah.
Is that documented? You have that in paper that they assume the risk?
Everything we do, I told
you.
Okay.
No, you won't go back to the foreign ministry.
No, I will let you go ahead, please.
Everything we do is regulated. Everything we do is regulated under international law. And the general expectation is credibility and integrity on all states that exercise their sovereignty. And I don't expect to sit here to assume that a responsible foreign government having a diplomatic mission here will be involving illicit activity. And so governments are meant to protect national integrity and borders. So I don't sit here to assume that an international organization with a mission in Liberia will be facilitating illicit activity. So it's a credibility expectation on every government that has a diplomatic mission in another country.
So I don't want you guys, but basically and the minister was trying to speak to the issue about international law, and it's very clear, and it is funded on the issue of credibility. And the Vienna Convention, those instruments within
Sylvester, you gotta really look. Let me tell you, there is a lot of.
Hold on, Mr. Nabe, you're gonna tell me just a minute. Hold on.
There is a lot of credibility deficit from this government. So when you talk about credibility, that is out the window. Most of what these guys are doing, they're not doing it based on the law. We all know that.
Mr. Nabe,
you just say I'm misrepresenting the facts, and you know that's inappropriate. I'm not misrepresenting the facts. Let him minister.
Did I say you misrepresented the fact?
Yeah, you said that. You said that in your last comment. Yes.
Mr. Nangbe, hold on. Don't be carried away by something I didn't say. And so, but let me say this: what I was speaking to actually was in keeping with international laws. I'm not talking about the credibility or whatsoever you want to say.
But this is what proves Telvi's point, because at the end of the day, some people within that place, for example, in the protocol's office, abuse that privilege, and that's what create the risk.
Yeah. The problem here is the protocol office. The problem here, Tevi, and I want to do this. The problem here, the protocol office is not packaging. It's not handling this.
It's not a package.
Let's say the U.S. government is conveying a very sensitive document out. The U.S. government is informing the chief of protocol office that this government, the responsibility of the chief of protocol is to write the LRA.
Is that particular writing, right? That goes with the label of the package. Could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So in the case,
but the allegation is that she okayed the process to proceed.
Exactly what I'm saying. It's just the okay the process.
Mr. Nangbe, Mr.
Yes.
Nangbe, the security agencies are
And those can be
investigating this.
dubious.
The security agencies
And
are
we have
investigating.
compromised security officers at this point. We have compromised security personnel right now.
The security agencies are investigating.
Correct.
In the event they find a case of culpability with any of the officials of the Liberian government or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the president will take the necessary action. And when this is not established, we only admonish and implore the public to exercise caution in the information that they gave out, because this is coming and impugning on the reputation of individuals who are working. The minister works with her shoulders to the wheels every day for this country. For someone to assume that she just signed off on a package that contains illicit materials and just spew that out as an allegation is unfair to her.
And therein lies my
Not only
because
unfair, but
the
was
minister
reckless.
is being individually accused, not the government. Why is he not going to court? That's why I don't understand.
The minister hasn't been
Here we have one
accused
Lone Star question
by any of those that are investigating this matter.
Please, thank you.
Individuals are coming on social media and on some talk shows making statements without evidence. The investigative process is going on. All of those that the security forces have connected to part of this, they have been
I want to be
investigated.
on their platform and again get a chance to talk.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Namba, I never said you destructed the fire. I said the person that gave the information that the minister handled, and that information was not correct. I didn't say that. Again, you've been carried away. All right. So I didn't say you destructed the fight. So I hope we'll pay attention to when we are
Thank you
having
for the clarification. Thank you.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sylvester, you did not. That's exactly what you just said.
That's what I
Sylvester,
said.
you
So
did.
I hope we'll pay
You
attention.
were right.
When
You're
we're having
right.
discussion.
Yeah.
But Siddiqui, quickly, I've been hit now from the other side. Sarah, you spoke first, and the time I'm calling you to hit on your phone remarks.
Yeah,
I think I would appreciate the questions from Sarah. I think she has some questions. She want to understand some things. So let's give her the opportunity.
Hey, Minister, thank you for fighting for me.
Okay. So, Siddiqui, I would please
That's
ask you
Siddiqui
to
stuff
hold on,
before
Siddiqui.
the Boka came into the United
I will please ask you to hold on, Siddiqui. I'll come to you immediately thereafter. So, Sarah, Madam Dopo, please go ahead.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, thank you so much for fighting on my behalf.
You are 100% protected. Go ahead.
I really appreciate that. I want to take you back to, I heard you talking about some foreign members that were out there, when you guys took over, you had to recall them, back train them, and stuff like that. I want you to explain to the Liberian people tonight, because there were allegations when the late George Tolo died that something happened. You guys frustrated him. Your government frustrated him. He got a letter to go down to Brussels or somewhere else. He was frustrated, and that frustration led to somehow contributed to his death. I just want you to give us clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you. How Mr. Solo died, I think it was a matter of public information. Individuals and his family made statements about what led to his death. But I can also explain around the circumstances of Mr. George Solo's relationship with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. When a country is appointing a diplomat to another country, particularly in the category of a head of mission, you have to write to the receiving state that you intend to appoint Mr. John Brown as an example. If anybody name is John Brown, I'm sorry. You have to write to the receiving state that you are appointing Mr. John Brown as the head of mission. Specifically for the head of mission, you have to do that. And you request what they call is a French word agrément, which means their agreement. They, like us, every country will do a background check and write back to the sending country and say, we approve this appointment. And in approving this appointment, they approve this appointment or deny this appointment. Also, under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, they don't have to provide reason why they deny the appointment. It's clear that they don't have to provide, they are not obligated to provide reason. In Mr. Solo's case, we did not receive the consent of the government he was going to represent Liberia to. And so alternatives were being explored when the unfortunate situation of his demise took place.
How long that alternative was being explored for? How long? He waited
for... I can only tell you professionally what we do. I can't give an emotional response.
He waited for so long, Mr. Minister. that
we also,
alternative was, in my opinion, from sources, it was a blockade to his appointment to another. It took too long. It took too long. If you guys were serious
unfortunately, I don't deal with opinion. I want to talk the professional engagements here.
Well, so protect integrity.
Yeah. So what we do, we write and we do receive. As I speak, there are several countries that have written to us about their diplomats. They've sent their CV. You have to submit the CV of the individual. And then your country will have to do background check. Sometimes it's not necessarily security check. You also want to see what's the person's experience, what previous job they have done, and whether you feel comfortable that they can actually engage with your officials at the same level.
Mr. So is that what happened to Fadiga?
Well, I don't think we should comment on the individual cases. But I only want to say that in some situation, we have some diplomats.
Really train them in our school.
We did not receive the consent of the state. And
Thank you, sir.
The situation was left with the president of Liberia to determine where next. And so in the Solo case, it is unfortunate that this happened. And unfortunately, I'm sorry. I mean, he lost his life, but this has it had no connection
quickly,
with
Mr. Minister,
the job he was seeking in the government of Liberia.
Quickly, Mr. Minister, to Sarah's point, I know Ambassador Andrew Quinn represented us at the ambassadorial level in Italy, Rome. And there where Mr. Soto was, when the agreement, did you sense they didn't respond? That's a normal thing. They didn't respond to that for that time. Was there any plan by the government to withdraw that nomenclature and send a new agreement?
So this is why I said, this is why I said alternatives were being explored. In diplomacy, if you send a communication to another government and you do not receive response after 3 months or so, it's like a no answer.
Yes.
For certain things, if you do not, it's like a no answer. You hardly receive a letter from another country that's telling you outrightly, no, we are not doing this.
No, the culture is they don't even say no. But
So
it's like with more than 2 months,
if we write and we do 1 or 2 follow-ups, and we do not receive response, then it means that we must explore alternatives to what we are looking for. If we are asking a country for a bilateral partnership and they are not responding, maybe we engage in another way. So in the case of Solo, there were unfortunately, there were delays and we could not receive response. In one instance, we could not receive the agreement. And so alternatives were being explored.
Unfortunately, he met his
he met his demise. And it's regrettable to say. Yeah. My sympathies to those who knew him.
The incoming Senator Kennedy, Anthony Gay.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Minister. You've been very, very, relaxed tonight and willing to answer our question. So, our Liberian Lone Star, it was publicized on the social media on big platform that they're supposed to go to Minnesota for the July 26th. They were supposed to participate here, and they got denied visa. Do you care to tell us? I mean, America's supposed to be our grandfather now. What happened here?
This visa denial is the sovereign right of any government. Any government.
Well, the reality that true.
Every government has the right to decide when to give visa or not to give visa without explanation. But through diplomatic engagement, sometimes you can ask for consideration. The circumstances surrounding the Lone Star, they said it was a friendly match and they didn't get the visa. That doesn't mean it's the end of it all. Maybe in subsequent important matches, there could be engagements that will allow them to get the visa. But there are also other incidents where other teams at least got their visas to go to the US, participate in sporting events and return. So these decisions are made by sovereign governments, and they actually have no obligation to tell us why. In rare cases, they do reconsider and contact us again that, well, they have reviewed these circumstances and they are reconsidering. We also have situations like that. We do deny visas to certain individuals. And I'm actually faced with a situation now. A member of the Liberian Studies Association, an academic from a foreign country, was denied visa upon arrival. I'm a member of the Liberian Studies Association. So they contacted me to ask me if I could facilitate this process. I cannot outrightly do this. I don't have that individual privilege. So I've contacted the authorities that issue visa to know the circumstances involved and what other requirements need to be met in order to give him the visa.
Follow-up question here with this visa issue, but our foreign mission is across the globe. But Canada and Australia, we got a huge Liberian population in those two countries. When are we going to find either an embassy or a consulate in those two countries?
That's an important question.
Thank you. Minister Beslo Nyanti set as a target to open 6 new embassies. India, Turkey, or let me say missions. So that could be an embassy or a consulate. India, Turkey, Canada, Australia, Rwanda, and 6, Nairobi, Kenya. So we've already gone 90% of the process to open India. We have acquired the facility and the embassy will be open soon. Canada and Australia are under consideration. And mind you, these things have budgetary implications, serious budgetary implications. So for now, we are covering Canada from the United States, and we cover Australia from Japan, which is closer. But they are actually, every budget year we intend to extend our diplomatic outreach. So as I speak to you, about 80% of our budget of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs goes on foreign missions. That includes paying for embassies, paying the salaries of the diplomatic staff, paying for their rent, paying their rent, the properties they live in. It's the government of Liberia's responsibility to pay that. At the moment, we have around 27 diplomatic missions.
Are we current on rent now? Because there's been some major ticket issue with.
I know,
yes,
right?
we are very current now with that. We are very current with that.
Insurance, do we have them insured? Because that's one of the major factors. Those insurance.
So this year there's insurance consideration for them. Previously, the last 2 years, and previously they never had insurance, but we've had cases that have brought extraordinary costs on the government, where we have situations where individuals die on post or got seriously injured or seriously sick, and the government had to spend really an awful lot of money to take care of their medicals. So we've weighed that against insurance, and we find that the insurance option is much more cost effective. So the process is on course to contract a global insurance company that will cover all our foreign missions, whether this company will be based in the US or Europe. Our Deputy Minister for Administration is working on this process, but it's already a policy decision to provide insurance coverage for all of them. The rent has been on course. They receive their rental costs and their salaries quarterly. There has been a mechanism between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Finance. These things are processed through vouchers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Ministry of Finance, where the payment is made, the disbursement is made. So that process has been working very well over the last 2 years. And I don't say that there are not challenges sometimes. We do experience glitches sometimes. Maybe there's a delay with the bank in transmission of the money. Sometimes there will be some glitch at the Ministry of Finance, whether with the FMIS process. But all efforts have been made now to ensure that they receive their entitlements on time. And you can find this out. You can call foreign service officers, and they will actually admit to the efficiency of the process. You would like to call people who have been there for at least 5-6 years, so that they can tell you the changes that they have experienced over the last 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Minister.
One will argue and say, given the competing priorities of these foreign missions around the world, Canada and Australia stands a better chance of funding, getting passport and other international documenting that will help the foreign mission generate revenue, as opposed to India, because there is huge population of Liberian in both Canada and Australia. You are telling us that you're about to open an embassy in India very soon compared to Canada and Australia. Don't you think that
So
those two countries
several
that just
considerations. There were several considerations in determining even the 6 missions that we need to open: concentration of Liberians, traffic between Liberia and those countries, economic relationship. So following this assessment, we found out that we have so many Liberians going to India for medicals and for studies. And we are always receiving calls from India for consular support. Either a student is in a crisis, a Liberian citizen is in prison, or some government official or an ordinary citizen is struggling in an Indian hospital, or somebody has died in India. So that's the urgency when it comes to India. So that mission will be opened later September. We've already acquired the facility. We've sent diplomats there. They've engaged the Indian government. All of the formalities have been done. We do receive the same from other countries, but when we, against what obtains in India and the number of calls that we receive for consular services in India on a routine basis, we thought it was imperative and it was urgent to open India now. Yeah.
So, okay, Siddiqui is back. So
Siddiqui, go ahead quickly. We won't do everything to let the minister. I mean, we'll keep him for the next 15 minutes. Unnecessarily, he got to get to.
That's too much. The minister is choking and need to drink water.
The minister would have run.
We'll do 10 minutes.
Look, man, how's up to you?
I got a follow-up question, please. After.
Yeah. So, guys, Siddiqui, the minister going to get a bottle of water. Let me
I've been quiet. I've been quiet for a long time.
We'll take your one question and let the minister to close. And then
no, Pee-wee, I got one. You told me to hold on. You told me to hold on.
You asked? Okay. Okay. We do it this way.
Yeah, so I'm back.
The minister gonna recharge. Okay now.
You gotta get some sleep.
Just a minute, guys. So what we're gonna do is 2 minutes to 12 midnight in Liberia. The minister will leave us by 12:15 on the dot.
So how many minutes we got?
So we got like 17 minutes to go.
So everybody got what? 2 minutes or 1 minute?
No, 1 minute.
I didn't need 5 seconds.
Everybody will have at least 45 seconds to ask one question.
Thank you.
I need 5 seconds now on this show.
1:05.
Yeah. But before your 5.
No, I just wanted to thank the minister. I'm getting off. That's all. Thank you very much.
I'll take Mr. Nangwe.
Thank you, Mr. Nangwe.
I'm just joking.
Okay, Mr. Nangwe, always the first to go.
I'm just joking.
Siddiqui, go ahead, please.
Quickly.
Thank you. Let it be. So we got to call it something. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, greetings everybody. Again, I had 2 questions, but unfortunately,
one, please.
So, Mr. Minister, I think you've answered most of the questions on the show. So basically, I really want to know, a few months ago, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they introduced a scholarship stuff that will take Liberian students from Liberia to take them to the US and that of Canada. And that turns out to bring a lot of controversy in the country. So people say, well, fake, to the extent that the president of the country went to the ministerial complex to go sign that scholarship, do whatever it was. And part of what that was so disappointing is that most Liberians had to pay money to register for that process. And not a single student from Liberia to take and say, yes, I'm in Canada or I'm in America on that scholarship stuff that was brought to the country. Even led to a dismissal or resignation of a deputy minister at the Ministry of Information. Because he came up, he spoke about it, that it was a scam, it was not real, and only for the Minister of Foreign Affairs and that of the Minister of Information to recommend to the president to dismiss Matthew without any investigation. What do you have to say about this, Minister here?
My question.
No, I think you are referring to what was called a Nicotech arrangement. So it was a private company that brought a proposal on work and study. And so they had 1 or 2 US universities that will take in Liberians through this arrangement, have them studying in the university and at the same time working. But there was a financial cost attached to it. And that process went on for some time. And unfortunately, a lot of people were able to only pay for the registration to participate in the application process, which the Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually didn't have any role in. The ministry was only facilitating Liberian participation in this process. It went on, I think, fast forward, few students got admission and were being processed to acquire US visa. And I think that batch was denied US visa. The role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stopped at the point where this particular organization was introduced to the country, and Liberians were indeed encouraged to participate in it. And so few students went through the first phase of the process, and I remember some of them applied for the US visa and were denied. Why the US government denied them? I mean, routinely we have Liberians that are denied, some get the visa, and we haven't been engaged with that process since, and I'm sure it discontinued. But our normal bilateral scholarship arrangements are with the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs signs scholarship arrangement with other countries, and then the Ministry of Education processes the students, and through that bilateral arrangement they go through. For those are scholarships, they don't have to pay any amount. This was an arrangement that involved financial that involved fees that this private company was taking. What we were doing, because it was so appealing, that it involved work and study, so we're only facilitating Liberian access to participate in this.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
They need to say the Minister of Information, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Minister, please, Sylvester Quay, please. I have an appeal for you. I'm currently in Rwanda, and I'm the vice chair for the Liberian community here in Rwanda. We have about 4,000 Liberians here. Unfortunately, we don't have an embassy, we don't have a consulate. We've engaged the government of Liberia. Whenever students here, they have an issue renewing a passport, or Liberians, there are a lot of Liberians here that are into trouble. For example, jail, for different reasons. But we find it difficult because we are just an association. We're not even recognized by the Rwandan government. But we don't have any representation here from our government. The only representation we have here is not even legitimate, is the police RG personal relationship with the police here. And he intestinated somebody that tried to mitigate some of the issues the students are involved with. So I'm just appealing to you, if you guys can really speed it up to establish a consulate here. We can recommend somebody reputable, that we can work with as a student community, 4,000 Liberians. And on a daily basis, people are sending our children here to go to school. And we don't have any legitimate, organization that we can go to whenever we have, into problem or stuff like that. And we are thousands of miles away, East Africa, West Africa. So that's an appeal that I have for you. And I hope
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krumah. And I said I named Rwanda among the countries of priorities, right? And 2 years ago, I was in Rwanda, and I had meetings with high-level officials, and we talked about the Liberian student community, which is a growing community, perhaps now one of the largest community of Liberians in East Africa. And that is actually on the table for the opening of a consulate in Rwanda, particularly to mainly provide consular services to Liberian students that are going. I mean, like you said, Liberians are regularly going to Rwanda, and one of the agreements I signed in Rwanda was the General Cooperation Agreement, which will involve air services. Because of the traffic now between Liberia and Rwanda, for Rwanda Air to fly to Liberia between Monrovia and Kigali. So the opening of the consulate is part of the priorities, the 6 priority countries. And once budgetary space allows, we're going to be in Rwanda soon. So it's actually among the priorities. And I understand the desperation now of the Liberian community there. And I can tell you that the minister is seized of this matter.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you all 1 minute question. I know, but Siddiqui point Jenna that's a campaign message for him when he contesting to be the president. You see,
people don't know. So you gotta pull your leg a little bit.
The man asked you a campaign point.
So you want to
listen, Siddiqui is going to clip this one and reserve it. Go ahead, Dre.
So I've been muted for the noise in the background. Thank you, Minister Yen.
That's the time. Gotta be because of the time. So we go just 1 minute, please.
No, 1 minute. I'm 1 minute, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Yen. You are by far one of the smartest librarian, for lack of a better word, young leaders in that country. I applaud you for your delivery. You have a knowledge of what you do. There are very few of you come up, interview people from Liberia on my own personal platform, and I get little to nothing. But I really like it. Even if you're lying to us today, I like your delivery. Okay. But you. I want to go back to the thing about the Garcia thing. You said something. You said if that agreement was to go through and Garcia came to Liberia, he would be a free man. I'll give a little back history. The government of Liberia, at some point in time, President Salif took over. There was some deportation issue. The Marine Corps Russian deportation to Liberia. She was like, oh, people came here in your society to learn, they got educated, they got spoiled by your system. We just from war. We don't have the resources. We don't have all it takes to rehabilitate these people. So instead, you might be solving your problem, but you're going to be creating another problem for a third world country that don't have much of hope. So President Obama, hold on to this thing. Let's do a certain approach. So at a certain point in time, that whole deportation thing came to a little decline from the U.S. Now, Garcia is not a regular guy he's not like went to Liberia or whatever it is. The America that has all the technological advancement, have all the resources to curtail criminals. They are refusing him because it's too dangerous for the society. Liberia, we are complaining to date, we can't even find the name of the person that shipped the drug. What resources do we have to entertain a Garcia kind of criminal to Liberia that when he comes to our country, he will be a free man walking? What do we have? Because we also the drug trafficking and so on and so forth. How can a government like Liberia put in safeguard rail again to say, oh no, why this thing is okay? Don't you think that is detrimental to the society of Liberia?
So thank you. I want us to I want us to differentiate the TPS, the temporary protective status, Liberians that were benefiting immigration status in the U.S. under the TPS program, and that TPS program at some point was near expiration, and the U.S. government obviously would have sent them back, and then President Salif intervened. That's different from the routine deportation. The U.S. routinely deports individuals that they want to remove from their country, people who have served prison terms, who are Liberians, who went to the U.S. as who came from Liberia. Under this arrangement, is a third country is a removal from a state to a third country. And under our non-refoulement obligation under international law, when somebody seeks asylum in a country, under international law, you cannot send them to a country where they do not want to go.
That is when the person is already in the country, though.
Yeah. So now, in this case, Garcia's case, there's no criminal conviction against him. And to the best of my knowledge, the security agencies in Liberia assess this situation and the risk around it. And they think that it is safe to bring Garcia in Liberia under this special arrangement. The case against Garcia is largely immigration. He was deported to his home country, and he challenged the deportation, and he was brought back to the U.S. because of, the U.S. court instructed the U.S. government to bring him back. So the U.S. government is still fighting in the legal system to obtain the authority and the right to remove him from the U.S. So he provided countries that he doesn't feel safe in at that time. And Liberia is now among the countries that he listed that he wouldn't feel safe in Liberia. And so when Liberia was approached, we had a special agreement. And so under our own law, we can remove individuals and send them to a third country. So that is legally interpreted that we are also allowed to receive third country nationals. And so,
what in it for us though?
But at the end of the day,
guys got to go to time.
Yeah, I know we got to go.
Back and forth.
Honorable Minister, we're not going back and forth. We need clarity. Yeah. My point is that your thing is, the bigger picture is America that is more safe for saying this man is a criminal. He's an MS-13 member. He has done it. He's a drug dealer. He's a human trafficker. This is America making this statement, and because of that, they uprooted him out of America. Now, Liberia is saying we can do it. What technological advancement do you have more than America? That America say, we don't feel safe with the man here that you want to assume that responsibility.
So there is no criminal case or conviction against Garcia in America.
Okay.
And nothing established the fact that he's a member of a gang in the U.S. The case against him is about immigration, and he's a poster case study of the immigration policy of the U.S. to remove him. And so when we were approached, our security agencies assessed the circumstances and found the risk to be very low, and so they accepted that Garcia could come to Liberia.
Thank you. Tavi, then Sarah, then Timoni will take her home.
Can you guys
It's
hear
11.
me?
Yeah,
It's 12:11.
So we gotta be by 15. We done. Tavi, quickly,
Please.
go ahead.
Okay, so recommendation and my question all in 1 minute. So I understand that the ministry cannot legally inspect or verify the content or the package of the diplomatic pouches based on the Vienna Convention. However, I will recommend that you adopt stronger governance, oversight, and risk management controls just to, to reduce the potential risk or abuse, still adhering to that whatever arrangement you have with those people. So, and then my question there, a few months ago, I saw on the internet that your ministry wrote the Nigerian government about or comment a pastor made or prophecy. Is that true? And if it was so, what prompted that letter, especially where he was just a private citizen?
So I remembered what happened, and communication was leaked to the press. And I believe that's what you came across. A pastor with a significant following in Liberia and Nigeria was making comments that tend to undermine the security of Liberia. He wasn't just criticizing the government, but this pastor was calling for the overthrow of the government of Liberia. And you know what the overthrow of a government means. It means instability. And it means, where necessary, violence. And so in our country, a good number of our people follow religious leaders. In the morning, you see people listening to the radio, NSPPD. And so most of them really follow Nigerian pastors. And so he was not seen as an ordinary person. He was not just an ordinary commentator. He has a significant following in his country and here. And so our embassy approached the Nigerian government about this through diplomatic means. Unfortunately, that what should be a normal diplomatic communication got leaked to the wrong hands, and people exploited it as a talking point to score political capital. But that situation has since been under control, and our relations haven't been hampered in any way with Nigeria. We maintain very strong and cordial diplomatic relations with Nigeria. But I only want to say here that became a concern because of the call to violence. When somebody calls for the overthrow of the government, they are calling for a violent situation, which could lead to instability. And so that is not something to take lightly. That is different from criticizing a policy of a government.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. We don't have the time right now. I'm going to send a pushback to that he was a private citizen while the Nigerian government in terms of that. And the response from the Nigerian government was that,
he's a private citizen, but we're only calling the Nigerian government attention to this private citizen's action, which had the potential to undermine the stability of our country.
And you're going to private citizen response.
And then private citizen.
I think President Bwaga need to move Dr. Yen to the Ministry of Information.
Sorry, Sarah, go ahead quickly. 1 minute.
We have a very competent information.
He's not competent. Leader,
sorry, I can speak to that.
Yeah, the minister can talk about foreign affairs.
I just want the minister to get some rest. I think he has lectured enough, gave us some information, whether true or not. It's left with us to go and verify that. But so
I like the last part is left for you to verify. Thank you.
Right.
Verify.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want, us to just give him some rest. He's done a great job so far.
Thank you, Sarah. Take out home quickly, Timoni.
Oh, and Mr. thanks so much.
And then the minister will put everything together and 1 minute.
While we were on the show, I was checking the information minister. I told him, I say, you see what your man is doing, and I expect you guys to also come and appear, because it takes a lot. People always say his platform is opposition platform. That's no. I'm gonna make it clear. It's not opposition platform. It's not government platform. It's a platform for Liberian people. Anybody can come here and make their case, and we don't encourage people to disrespect our guests. We get in our well. So I hope that people will follow through. I want to say thank you so much, and at least you clarify a lot of stuff. And I'm a student of international relations, so I understand most of the things you're saying is better in the facts, because with the agreement, how it works, that's exactly what happens. You don't in diplomacy, you don't explain what happened to certain person. You don't go public with it. You keep it like this. Somebody will deny you have the right to say it, a lot of stuff. And then Liberia is on the Vienna Convention, so we follow all these treaties. So most of what happened, but the main thing, at least today with Clark guy, was that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, where they accused her of personally getting involved in that pouch stuff, which I knew was a lie. People I discussed it from her that it was a lie. And I'm glad it was clarified that at no time such happened, and it doesn't work that way. So I'm happy you clarify it, and I'm sure people will now have better understanding. They can go verify. I'm sure they will know the fact that what you said is a fact. I want to say thank you so much, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
It shouldn't be the last time. It's the second time coming on this platform, so that I'm aware. We've been here before, so we're aware of that. So we know that you always come.
And every 2 months, he's gonna come.
Yeah, and then
I can't commit to that. I'm not sure.
Just to end, right? How's the USAID affecting the country? I mean, what have we done? Because how we taking the USAID and cutting the support? Because a lot of people got affected.
So what happened? The U.S. government closed down USAID, but they did not close, or they did not end U.S. support to other countries. In the logic of the Trump administration, the bureaucracy was cumbersome, and a lot of money that should reach directly to the receiving government of the aid was being absorbed in overhead costs by consulting firms. And so closing down USAID, they now directly engage with government. Yes, there was a disruption. There were funding cuts in some areas, but the U.S. government is still engaged with Liberia, providing needed support in the security sector, in the healthcare sector, and now the MCC compact has been signed to support mainly energy. Yeah,
how much is that? How much are we getting?
At least 500 M.
Wow.
Mainly energy in the energy sector and mining, energy and minerals. So those are the only two sectors. So what is happening now? The team is developing a compact, all of the necessary documents to support, to bring the U.S. funding to finance projects in the energy sector and in the mineral sector. So it's somewhere around 500 M.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. So we'll just give you the next maybe 1-2 minute maximum to close up, and want to appreciate your coming today. I think you are very detailed in trying to move through the system of what Minister Beslow and her team you guys are doing at the ministry. But I think you should include this issue about if there and also plan about this representation vehicles things, because all of our missions across the vehicles are all very terrible, even the one here in Washington, D.C. So there's this issue of representation of vehicle. And you know the new one, the representation of vehicle.
No, I
don't go to the Liberian embassy and begin saying you cry.
This is what
is there any plan for representation of vehicle across?
This is what we deal with when we are operating with a very small budget. And when there are competing priorities, the president has to sit and think whether he should put more money in education, in healthcare, in the foreign service. So we are managing. Yes, there is plan. This year, we have allocation for representation vehicle for all our major missions. And I think there is already allocation, financial allocation. So I think it's the procurement process now that should be ongoing.
But the car the ambassador is driving here in Washington,
I know about this.
It's almost 20 years old.
I'm telling you, man.
They're going to get
all the fun out of it.
No, for God's sake, somebody send me text. It's serious. One of them send me text for that. Send it to me just so.
It's true. But there's already financial allocation.
Everything is going on fire with the government.
No, the financial allocation has been made, and this year they are expected to receive new brand vehicles across several missions. And it's true. I mean, the challenge is there, and this challenge actually
a suburban vehicle for Washington D.C.
Okay,
so you can just take the last 1 minute to close.
So I actually want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak to you all today about the work we are doing at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I want to encourage every one of you, anytime you have questions and concerning the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, just contact the ministry for the facts and the details. And also, there are some you can do open source research or investigation to know some of these things, so that we can all come to the public with good information, with the truth, with evidence, and so that we can, as a respectable platform like this, we can be mixed among those who spread misinformation. So thank you, Sintomalin. Thank you, Sylvester, for the backup support you've given me, giving your knowledge of the ministry.
You better give PR
And
trouble.
Telvi, thank you for your very critical questions that went to the deep of everything. And also, Sarah, thank you for your own questions. Anthony and Mr. Toure, thank you all. And we all should continue to enlighten the public with the truth and avoid biases and disinformation. So good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Yan.
Our regards to your minister.
I will pass this over to her.
I'm pretty sure she's very proud to have a deputy like you.
Guys, I think we would do this to just close in 10 minutes because everybody tired to want to go. I don't know. So in 10 minutes, we're going to close by 8:30. So 8 minutes from now, we're going to close. Basically, and the reason that I didn't do this.
8:30 or 8:20. Oh, 8:30, you're right.
8:30, yeah, 8 minutes at a time. I didn't do this, so the backup thing was just that I was providing certain information, knowledge. It was not meant to provide popular vision for the ministry. So if anyone wants to yeah, I know. I just tried to so that we understand some of these things. But Dr. Yan is an extraordinarily smart young librarian.
Yes.
Went to England and pursued his academic. He got a PhD in, I think, political philosophy. So you got to understand his strength and the rest of that. So he spent some time in England doing these things. When I was in London last time we met, I think some of the food I almost wanted the way off. We met at the Liberal Investment Forum in London. He came, but he was in school then. He took some time off to come and spend. And I think he attended the 2 or 3 days program. So we spent some time together in London and the rest of that. So he's an extraordinarily smart young librarian, and he's contributing towards. And I think it's a strategic position. The current minister is blessed to have him. To be very honest, because he's one of those that is working along with the minister, ensuring that I think we all young people find ourselves in the same age group in our bracket, right? So we should celebrate one another. So he's one of those young person that went to get a PhD. We are trying to do that in a very challenge from the more competitive university in England. So I think.
All right, thank you.
Sarah, we're running up now. Your post issue of what you one of those who asked some critical. I can during the show when we were talking about the issue of the visa center being brought to Monrovia, right? You see people will come, they will fly, they will come to get labyrinthine. Sarah, do your money. I was very happy.
After the whole thing, the rap Sarah Kush, Sarah said she will never host me.
Nobody do that. She put your up. Like, oh, go ahead.
Great show, great discussion. The honorable minister is very, very, very good in lecturing. I will give that to him. I mean, he handled the questions very well, even though a lot of them were very dishonest. And I mean, this is a minister who represents the government, who, when they were in opposition, said the worst thing about other people. Now he comes on here and tells us we shouldn't be biased, we shouldn't be this, we shouldn't be that. Like, where were you when you guys were doing the same thing to the other people? But it was a great show, great discussion. I see a lot of like what he said is level.
So, Sarah, quickly before you continue, it would be fair for us to say this. So, yes, was not part of this kind of part. He's a professional intellectual. He's an academic. So he was just called to be part of this government.
He just having to work in the government.
So he was not part of the mixing this.
Yeah, much I don't support the government. I won't put
he didn't do that.
I mean, I agree, but at the end of the day, he's
just academic, right? So he was called in to kind of help me on other things. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, he works for the government, and there are expectations from this government with regards to
absolutely
right. So, He told us about 15 people being at the border. Why are they doing that? They're just 15. What kind of resources they need? They need to get out. It's just 15. Come on now. Like I said, his discussion was good. He handled it very well. And I love his tolerance and everything. His level of us. We know United Party people to be people who, they came to power on lies anyway. So they would put people in positions of power to lecture us. His level of us to go and verify the information. So it was a great discussion, and I really admire, his the manner in which he handled all of the questions and everything that he discussed with us. And like I said, I'm impressed by his discussion and by his performance on here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony, quickly.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks to the crew for reaching out to be able to bring somebody of this caliber on the show. I mean, that's what we want to be able to have a conversation and elevate the conversation. Yeah, much as I don't agree with most of what he said, but I respect his professionalism. I respect his tolerance. I respect his willingness to attempt to answer the question the best way possible he can. And that's all we need from our officials. We don't need you to come here and be fighting us. The Ministry of Information do that all the time. Very combative. I mean, you ask one single question, they go chasing you. That is not service. This man here, Ian Mush, I don't agree with everything he said. I respect him. I respect him the way he presented himself tonight. We have competent Liberian, and this is how we need to conduct ourselves on platform, on radio, and in an international space. So yeah, thank you. Great show. Look forward to having another one again.
AB.
Yeah, I think I can't agree with you guys any less or any more. I think it was a great show. I like I said, he's one of the smartest young Liberians, working in government, and I think the Liberian government, this just shows that, it just shows that when you empower young people, who are competent, what can happen. And I think he one person who understands his domain through which he works. It also underscores the importance of education, not passing through school, but learning and paying attention to what you learn about. Yes, to Anthony's point, I think there are certain things that I've been a propagandist if I want to, I choose to. There are certain things I can. There are certain things he said I can make a clip on and emphasize on, reproduce to criticize. But on the overall, it's great, that he was able to defend the thing. I personally don't think that, America, for the fact that they didn't go to court with Garcia, doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a reason to take out the country. America understands or categorize Garcia as a criminal. And when you, like my sister Sylvia might pretty agree with, in doing risk management, the reason why certain things you don't do, like for example.
But quickly, I know that because you've been proved, I didn't want to say because he was on the show, but quickly here. At what point do we classify someone as criminal? Who does that?
No, you interrupted him at the wrong time because if you are listening, you're going to waste too much. You're going to hear what I'm about to say. So in America, right? For example, when you go to, for example, join a police department here, can you please mute your phone now, Sarah, please? When you want to join in a risk, in a police department. They do a background check. They look at your DMV report. They look at. So now most police department will not hire you because you have a speeding ticket, maybe in like 6 months or whatever it is, right? Even though that ticket must have been dismissed, but look at your pattern of driving. Based on that, I say, well, this man gonna be driving.
Back to the issue. Who tell me that?
Oh, stop! You interrupted me. Stop! No, stop!
Go ahead on that.
Give me a chance, sir.
We have
look at your vehicle driving. But don't interrupt me. Like if you are really gonna hear this, you wasn't more time to interrupt.
Go ahead.
So they look at your vehicle driving record, part time, and make a decision if they can hire because they want to know if you are risk to the city, right? Your insurance company, your insurance premium goes up because they look at your pattern of driving. So that's not because you are guilty or not guilty, right? So for the fact that Garcia was not, how you got to think, even though he was not convicted, the U.S. government thought he was a risk to the society and they decided to take him out of the country. Liberia has limited resources to entertain anybody of that nature because the U.S. will not ever you. Who ever you? They got resources, they got everything. So I think in that position,
it was a memo. I think MF13.
MS13, exactly, all those, right? So when you're doing in the context of risk management, I would not take that decision because if something backfire, I don't want to say, oh well, but the American people did not admit your brother, man. What do you expect? Just for risk purposes, some people not take certain decision, right? And that's why America believe in the liberty theory. But back and forth, all in all, I think he did a great thing. I personally, if I was the Liberian government, I wouldn't have accepted. They got other countries that he could have went to. I wouldn't have accepted that. The border situation, he said something about how, the people say, need time to move. What kind of time do you need to move on another man's land if you already agreed that you don't belong there? So this was just a propaganda to cover up the situation that, you know what it is. But I think there's a serious issue that's still there that has not been addressed. You don't need no time to move on the land. You go into somebody's house right now, uninvited, you don't pay rent in house. Then you say, I need time to move on your house. No. So I like his eloquence, I like his defense. He's knowledgeable, he can defend certain things politically, but I think the government has more to do, and I think the government should do more in those areas. But other than that, he's a great guy. I respect him. Hopefully I can have him on my own personal show one day, just have a long hour interview with him and just hear how things go. But he's a great person. Thanks for the show.
Thank you. Quickly to that point before Tevi can take over. The issue is that I think he answered that question first, and part of the reason why when Garcia even went back to his country, he was brought back here when the senator from Maryland went there and the rest. The court system here said there was no evidence whatsoever. Even stay give him to the Ministry of the Justice Department to see him as no evidence had been proven against him, and it's part of the reason why the court even asked that he be out. They read something, they put him in jail. The court has to do those things.
Excuse me. If you found out, for example, John Brown here have been to court multiple times for he's been a sex predator, molesting children. Because you are not being found guilty, will you allow in your house, living alone with your kids? You're not being found guilty.
No, but why would somebody go to court several times for molesting without
No. My point I'm trying to make to you is, right? Some like what it means.
No record.
It's not personal. I'm sorry. If it came up
it doesn't matter whether there's
John Brown can be proven guilty that he's a predator.
Bro, if it sounds like a duck,
I'll tell you. Go ahead, please.
It's a duck.
I'm just lying to man. Everybody know that.
Go ahead, please. It's clear that the man there's nothing yet.
Yeah, but our own fire issue for the capital.
If Garcia were to go to Liberia,
I mean, you look at it.
If Garcia were to go to Liberia,
the government is taking more risks to take Garcia to Liberia than leaving here.
What a risk you want me to go to Liberia? No risk in that.
The reason there is the money behind it. That's
no
it.
Risk. Listen.
That's a good money. Thank you, sir.
If Garcia were to be sent to Liberia, there's actually no risk factor around Garcia.
You don't know that. It's system. It was supposed to get a system thing. They cannot handle it because of
it's
what
not an issue about sophistication. It's an issue about the way he came in the country. They believe he came here illegally. They want to get him.
That's a Democrat thing. You're not doing it yet.
The people want the kudos.
Garcia can be handling Liberia. If Garcia were to go to Liberia can handle.
I would respect other people's time, but Mr. P, we start provoking me to talk.
We there with more dangerous people than Garcia.
Yeah.
Tell me, go ahead quickly.
See, we don't support that.
No, but Garcia, when the maker, we can hold him. We are good people too in Liberia.
You can't even find how you drug him to your country. How you hold Garcia like that?
I will bust three. I'm going to
when you charge,
we arrested him. We coordinated. The Liberian government coordinated.
When you charge anything, then we'll know you can get hold Garcia. Now when you charge him, you know where now.
Go ahead, please.
You talking about nobody want to eat some rug me here.
Nobody, absolutely nobody.
You don't even get back. Can see place to even track with people. Your own library citizen. You even get to the place nothing. All kind of sexual offense on the record and they just spread the general population. That I see your ear. Yeah, wait, let me talk my own. No, I think the minister did a good job. Somebody I was talking earlier and I said that, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I read some of his, his things on the internet, and I know his little brother, too, smart too, just like him. So I wasn't surprised. I think he did a good job, explaining some things, some of the processes. Like everybody else, there's room for improvement. I'm sure he took a lot of notes, to take back. I'm still not, I understand the whole Geneva Convention. Everybody can say, Vienna Convention and Black and whatever, but you can still put some safeguards in place around the process, around the documentation, just the oversight, even though they cannot physically inspect the content, just to protect Liberia. Because even when somebody say, well, and everybody know I love Sarah, whatever it is, but sometimes because of these things, we don't have tight controls in place. You kind of sign things unknowingly just because the process say, oh, there's cover on international. How are you calling your back? Trust but verify. You have to verify. I don't care. There is no foul-proof system. Not because we have the arrangement, but you have to protect your environment in whatever way you can. So I'm sure even if this is false, they have to go back and look at the internal process and see how they can put some safeguards still you still be compliant with whatever or convention arrangement, international relations they have out there. America will do the same thing. Whoever will do the same thing. So I'm encouraging them to do that. I'm sure they're going to do it because they always take feedback in good strides, even from common citizens. I'm sure they're going to do that. I was also, concerned about that whole border thing. He said that, when I asked him about, the timeline, you can just throw a blanket statement and say that, we're working on it. They said it will move. That's open-ended. They can move 10 years from now. They can go take Christ come. What is the timeline, to make sure that, these people are going to move and you're following up with them, to ensure that they stay committed to the process and you stay committed to the process. I didn't hear that. And when I asked him, he said, well, I'm not part of the security. Now, that's just a cover-up because he knows that anything that happened along those borders, foreign ministry knows about it. So I understand he was covering up, but I did take notes, and I'm sure they will do better. But overall, I think he did well. Same thing with a public minister. He gave us over 2 hours of time. We don't take that for granted. Other people don't want to come here. And he was very professional, very calm. Even when, we tried, somebody panelists tried to, strangle him a little bit or ring him a little bit, he stayed calm. And I appreciate his professionalism. And I'm sure he's going to come back again. And also the team, I think the team did well too. Just the line of questioning and just the professionalism.
One question for you, Tevi. So do you think that America is an exception to the rule?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I worked for government for 8 years before I went to private sector. Absolutely not. And even when I worked for government, we were auditing different government agencies, auditing the processes because you can't trust even internally the internal threats. And
no, so I mean like if there, in terms of the packaging thing, wherein it is alleged that the minister signed a package, but according to him, it's Geneva Convention rule. So you think if it was something like in America, they would have done the same thing?
They would have done that. You know what they would have done? They would have made sure there are a lot of safeguards you can put in place, and I don't want to explain all those internal processes. But of course, they are there. They can do their own research, even though there's the agreement there. But they can verify, whoever that the package going to, that person is, it's the direct, person is covered by that ministry or whatever entity. They can also verify that, okay, we're not inspecting this package here. So if there's anything dangerous in here, we're not responsible. There's a lot of safeguards they can put in place.
Right, but what I was getting from him is that they were not supposed to do it at all. So like the question,
I understand, but there are other safeguards you can put in place. Yeah, the Tony cover that you cannot open it. I read it myself. You cannot physically inspect the package, but you can also make a signed paper or signed document to say that, okay, we inspected on our end or whatever, we did our necessary checks, and this can be their proof. So whatever she's signing, they're verifying that the content within that are good content for all we care. That not, whether contraband or whatever it is. So they're signing up to say, we check this content, we show that there's letters, it whatever, it is not contraband, it's not this. There are other safeguards. You know, I went to the hospital. They used to ship things out of country, a teaching hospital here in Dallas. They used to ship to other countries. But let me say this too, I know you want to come in. You used to ship things to other countries, international countries. First thing we used to check to make sure that those countries that we ship into, they're not on the America, worst list or whatever countries that we can.
Somebody mute that phone, please.
We're talking about.
Yes, but then also too. But also, too, we have to put our own safeguards in place. And also, what they're different with transfer transferring the risk to them. That's why I'm asking. Is the risk a share risk or is it a transfer thing? So you transfer the risk 100% to them. Like in this case, I'm just saying okay, let's say hypothetically, Sarah signed that thing because of based on Geneva Convention. Hypothetically, you don't run with it, but she did it because of Geneva Convention. What if she signed it and she didn't know the content and our opinion or whatever in there? She's responsible for it in a way.
Yes,
She's responsible for what she put in place.
Yeah, quickly.
Even transporting DOD documents in America.
I think we all got
the Geneva Convention that we take off the brace on. America will not trust their best friend to the trust for verify. They will never trust no soul. They will never do it.
Thank you. Too many, George. We allow you to close here, but before you close quickly, George, in a few seconds here, there are safeguards at TV. So when we expect before those parcels leave sometime the country, in other diplomatic sector from here or from Liberia all over, we do have the security scanning process that we have to go through. You're not going to open it, but you have to go through those safeguards. This safeguard, right? So they scan.
But you didn't mention all of that.
I understand that DHL but you have to have your internal processing in place so that if anything comes up, you are covered. You have to cover your back at all times.
Can you go ahead and take her home?
So our alleged cocaine package was not scanned?
No, the national.
That's the $1 million question.
Like diplomatic stuff, it's a process. That's why you have your mechanism in place. As people said, your scanning machine, your dog, everything will be all around. You don't have it, or you're not allowed to search it.
But you're not going to open it.
When you say open it, I'm not saying open it. I said in the absence of not opening it and not inspecting, you will have other safeguards to cover you.
Absolutely.
You don't have to respect.
We don't have it. We don't have it.
So we don't have it. But now, like I give you an example, right? Years ago, before the war, one of our Representative Verdier was at JFK because the people got intel that you have marijuana in drugs in his luggage, and they search it. You must have tangible evidence before you might make that move, because if you do that, you'll be violating the national law again. Your country can be held responsible for that. So
you can put your own internal process. You can put your own internal processes in place. That's internal control. You can.
Oh, Sarah was a lie.
But that's what he's saying.
But I think I'm missing the point. Nobody is accusing Madam Beslow. What we're saying here is but I think what we're trying to say here is
a lie.
No, but you're not understand what we're saying. What she's saying
that's
let a man talk now.
She was lied upon. That the man clarified that she had no business. She can't touch no document of nature. The chief of police can do it, but it happened to Brady. I just said they got intelligent. If the government got intelligent that particular demanded pass is continuous anything, intelligence is accurate, they can call for search because they have intelligence. They will prove to it, but they can't just do it. You can't break the national law. You can't do that.
I wasn't talking specifically to the power show. I was just giving a general recommendation.
Where it came from, because that video went around, but I lied. We were talking about her. But with the Guinea issue, if people have met several times, they say, okay, they have reached the point. So we say, LaBrosse, you force on Guinea now? That's what you're saying. Because you're saying that what they put in our land. They said they will move, right? We say, will you force on that? Then you are saying that.
No, you have to establish a timeline where you will follow up with them to make sure they make do all the promise.
If you say that, I would disagree with you.
You have to make sure there's no timeline, no schedule, so they can just say, I will go tomorrow, I will go 10 years from now.
But Timothy, is the land going to get rotten? What is the Russian? What Guinea rushing for?
Now, so I want to get you following people.
Have a good show, man. Let's get
they came with them, reason they want to do all that stuff. The men back down, they said the judge said the man have done nothing wrong. What do the man? So I think my brain like, bro, you can you do like, we not trying to like, bro. You come there. Without
when they mess that routine boy like, bro, what you do, Timothy?
Hello, it was a great show, and trust me, like Minister Yen said, anything you have problem with that, you feel that you are not honest, you go verify it. Because I'm going to say, I think you are on point with it, and I think so. The only thing that happened, I think Super had a tough question. But I asked a tough question. He admitted that he never had the facts with it, so he left it.
I even asked him about.
He know how to fight to play that thing, but he's the
I even asked him about it.
Your politics there because honestly,
no. He never had a fact. So
But
certain things
bring a boy here. What's the thing?
You said somebody asked question. He never had a fact. Then he was not supposed to speak about it. He was not supposed to speak to it because he never had a fact. And he said he's not a smart person.
We gotta go.
You see, your politics are public comment.
But we are not get a sign. What we supposed to do here?
But no, it's not a sad thing here. It's a national issue. Not sad thing.
No, for me, that's sad business. I think
it's not sad business.
Good night.
Yeah, see, I didn't even ask any political question today. I asked,
but no. Mr. George, Mr. Pee-wee.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Pee-wee. Tomorrow, I'll get the Simeon Fremont. You'll be there. I'll get tomorrow. Simeon Fremont will be here tomorrow. So you're going to get Simeon Fremont. Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow.
But somebody need to bring the military information here.
He will come. Remember that tells again, he will come.
No, Pee-wee, I'm going to summon you in the background. You be taking our time too much. That's correct.
But people, you already have foreign ministry experience.
Yeah, me,
I'll not tell you next time.
Hey, you understand? The foreign president, you follow you.
You are?
Yes, and I said, we show that. The reform agenda is clear.
Get it? Yeah, the man, I asked 2 questions. The minute answer my question.
I we sell all the groundwork for the government. Everything. That's a two-fold approach. And so that's the thing. The rest of your thing. Not only money, the beauty. Good night, man. A good former Minister of Foreign Affairs and Dean of the Cabinet of the Bureau, Marcus Kimia.
I think we gotta bring Kimia. We gotta bring Master Kimia.
Oh, yeah, we gotta extend. Yeah, I don't gotta extend.
Let's bring Master Kimia.
Yeah, former boss, man.
Oh yeah.
I thought Kimia already.
Yeah, bring the man. Yeah, bring the man on board.
Yeah, I think Kimia is very media savvy.
Oh yeah,
media savvy.
You bring Kimia on board. You bring immigration on board because we want to know about the drug issue. What they do on the airport.
Man, I trust immigration, man. You bring NSA on board.
No, NSA will never come on radio.
NSA will not come.
They minute DA they compromise them, man. What?
I mean, that DA man, I know what you doing with that man.
I mean, you never know, it's just, I don't know. But again, to be honest, I'm happy that,
I want to give Fadiga a chance a little bit, but he said to it too much.
Nah, it was one thing you're qualified, another thing you are professional.
Yeah,
you cannot be,
I don't have a problem with professionalism, but the qualification he has it.
Yeah,
he's professional.
It's one thing you qualify, it's another thing.
You remember he's a clear the government. You're really enjoying tomorrow.
No, but some people come here when you come with facts that you might bring roller watch here.
The man.
I hope he coming to about he 100
yeah, but the people should not be a roller watch here. Okay, watch here, please.
The man using rollers again. The man using why 420K for you.
Yeah, he called the name for it too. Yeah, that's true.
I know that. I can't forget the name for it.
Yeah, so
it's a trendy watch now. All the celebrities getting in there.
I know.
Rollers are legacy.
Man, but I talked to you another time, bro.
Yeah, brother. Nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you.